Hi folks, Tim Kitzer here, the voice of NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, reporting live that Scott Clark is heating up. Wait, no, it can't be. The Gaming Outsider is all here and they're on fire. Kaboom!
What's up, GoCo? Zack, Alyssa, and I have an in-depth conversation about the future of video game journalism and whether or not it's dying, or already dead. In news, we have a lot of new trailers to talk about from the Summer Games Fest and Microsoft's Game Showcase. New games discussed include Cowboy 3030, Autopsy Simulator, Bang Average Football, Underspace, and Skeler Boy. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com, our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast, or on our Discord server. And you can find a link for that in the show notes of this very episode. It is Sunday, June 9th. Thank goodness. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends, Mr. Zack Parkerson.
Greetings from Night Springs.
Somebody's excited about Alan Wake 2 content.
Oh, yeah.
And Miss Alyssa White.
Well, I'm going to be diving into Night Springs as well, so I am also excited.
There you go. Happy, not E3 week. Happy multitude of trailers week, I guess I could say. My inbox has been full.
Is there some kind of a referendum we can issue as a gaming community to still just refer to this as E3 week?
I mean, I think I'm going to keep doing it because Summer Games Fest doesn't roll off the tongue.
No.
And I still don't know if it's Summer Games Fest or Summer Game Fest. I can never remember which one it is.
No, I can't either.
I think
It's like a weird Mandela effect thing, but it's not that old.
But whenever I hear Summer Games Fest, it sounds like something you would do in gym class.
All right. Yeah.
It just sounds
like the presidential fitness test. I hated that.
Yeah, or, it just sounds like something. Or like maybe you're a Boy Scouts and you have to do. Okay, guys, this year we're doing Summer Games Fest.
It's just a way to sugarcoat that it's summer camp.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
Did you go to summer camp when you were a kid?
No, I really wanted to join Boy Scouts, but we couldn't afford it.
I was part of Girl Scouts, but we didn't do campouts or anything. So
I had to work at summer camp. There was a summer camp, Christian summer camp down the street from me, and I worked there, dude, 60, 70 hours a week. I think we calculated it. I made $25 a week.
Does this mean that God is pro child labor?
Apparently, yeah.
I think so. And I had to pay taxes on that.
Wait, isn't God tax exempt?
You would
supposed
think.
to be.
Oh no.
We actually calculated it out that one summer. We were making 23.5 cents an hour. And then, granted, it was the 90s, but still.
Your mom thought this was a great idea, huh?
I got my first real job at Walmart making $5.50, and I was like, oh my God, this is great.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big jump from, 23.5 cents an hour.
Yeah. And I'm talking hard labor, man. I learned a lot of my work ethic doing that summer camp. But
yeah, I remember when my aunt was a teenager, she got a job at McDonald's, like part-time, and her check was like $280 or something like that. I remember seeing it as a kid going like, why does anybody work full-time, man? This is so much. You could live indefinitely off this money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I miss being a kid thinking that was a ton of money.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it still is a ton of money to me today. I'm like, that's expensive, but as a kid, you think, wow.
Right. That's like 20 V-Bucks or something like that?
I don't know. I cannot do conversions into V-Bucks. I'm not smart enough. I have to ask my 10-year-old cousin about that.
Guys, things are ramping up with R2V2. The vendor tables are filling. We've got stuff out to sponsors. We've got all kinds of things going on. Very excited. Make sure you mark your calendars for October 12th and 13th. It's going to be a 2-day event. Hope you can make it. Actually, Jacob put together, we actually have you can buy tickets already. There's a link on our socials for Eventbrite. We've got it all set up so that you can actually pre-purchase your tickets. So be sure to keep on the socials. I'm going to put together something on the website this week, with all the details and all that too. But also, make sure you mark your calendars for Saturday, July 27th. We're going to be at Tilted 10 here in Rockford doing an Extra Life event, raising money for Waukesha Children's Hospital. It's going to be a lot of fun, and everybody's welcome to come. It's going to be one of those deals where you pay an entry fee, and we don't keep anything for ourselves. It's all going towards the charity. There's going to be giveaways. There's going to be raffles. There's going to be competitions. We're going to have, I imagine CB's going to have a whole bunch of rare and exotic games that you can play. weird consoles. He's got a bunch of weird consoles, guys. So we would love it if everybody came out. So mark the date. But I want to hear the games that you guys have been catching up on. And we're going to start again with Alyssa. How is the flipping of houses, or as Zach refers to it, Dark Souls of house flipping, or whatever it was?
This is the Elden Ring. This is the accessible
Elden Ring
one.
of
Oh, okay.
houses. They actually did make a little bit of an update, which I like the update. It didn't do anything too drastic, but the update now when you flip a house or whatever, it shows you before and after pictures when you finish. Kind of cool.
Mhm.
The update also you sell items in the houses in the game that either the client doesn't want, or you just, if you're in the house flipping mode, you want to get rid of. And before, it would just show like a red or green screen on the scanner. You have a hand scanner and things just disappear when you click it. It's weird. But now it shows you a $sign or an X, so you know it's a little bit easier to tell if you can sell something.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
But besides, I think that was pretty much the only update. Well, they made the menus a little cleaner looking with the update as well. So they're working on it. They're putting some time in. But no, I am starting to enjoy it more and more. I'm still doing the campaign. But the houses are getting bigger. The tasks are becoming, longer, and there's more to do. I'm like, this is what I love about the games. It just took a little bit to ramp up, and by a little bit, like 15 hours, because I think I'm about that far in. But yeah, I enjoy it. Still not as much as the first one yet, but I'm hoping some DLC will come out that'll add to it, and I'm still looking forward to playing it, because it's kind of like my Zen game. I just chill out when I play it, don't think about anything besides the houses. It's good for that. It does run a lot smoother than the first game did, though. I do have to give them kudos for that. I haven't had any glitches yet, unlike the first game, so they've improved that as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, I am still enjoying flipping those houses.
Nice. I'm kind of envious of you having the time to play, these chill out Zen games. Although I will say,
I have a stupid routine like I do every night, and it throws me off so bad if it gets messed up. And I play for an hour every night. That's how I get my game time in.
Nice.
Well, extra game time.
And as much as I like relaxing Zen style games, I feel like I'm getting tired of reading about games being described as cozy games.
Oh, sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, I get that.
And it's weird because, like I said, I like them, but as soon as I see a description as, "Oh, we've got this cozy game," I'm just out for some reason. I've got enough cozy games. I've got Balatro. I've got other things.
You've gone full old man.
I know. No. If I were gone full old man, I'd be all over these games, right?
No, this is like get your happiness off my lawn.
No, I'm not yucking anyone's yum. If you like the games, that's all for it. I'm just saying, personally, I just kind of tune out. I actually like. There's been a couple times
the cozy games tag is kind of becoming like this roguelike game, this battle royale game, this cozy game.
Like a genre. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you been playing, Alyssa?
I also played the Bookwalker Thief of Tales, which was on Game Pass, and it'll be on there until the 15th of June. It only took 4.5 hours for me to play, but I really loved it. Like, I don't know why I thought it was a platformer. It's not. You're playing as this guy who's a writer, which already up my alley, and he ascends to 30 years of writer's block, which means he can't write anything because he committed a crime by writing a certain thing.
Oh, wait, is this what happened to Alan Wake?
Maybe, because, this could be an alternate universe, because it's weird. But,
or it could be in the Remedy universe.
Yeah.
There you go, yeah.
It'd be cool if it did tie in.
The Bookwalker is in the dark place.
So, the guy gets a phone call, and they're like, we can reduce your writer's block sentence to 2 years if you do these 6 tasks for us. And the tasks are you have to jump into 6 different books and steal an artifact from each book. And you go into the books, and to steal the artifacts is is kind of like point-and-click adventure style, but also has some flavor of like Disco Elysium with the dialogue choices, the impact it has on the story, stuff like that. Just not as complex, and it's not doing the dice roll thing. But it was really unique, and I really dug it. And you could I mean, I think it's got a pretty linear, ending, but the journey up to the end, you can choose to, kind of be a better guy or a more selfish guy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just so unique, and I don't know why I didn't try it sooner before it's almost off Game Pass. But, I mean, even if you wait until after Game Pass, I think it's worth the price, because it was unique, it was fun, it was creative. I mean, each book you dive in is a different genre, because one's a magical school, so you get, the Harry Potter vibes.
Yeah.
One, you go into, like, this post-apocalyptic world that's just covered in snow. There's another where you go to another post-apocalyptic world, but it's the desert, and everyone's pretty much just trading sand back and forth as currency. Like, the books are all different, and the artifacts are all different, and it's interesting to see if this guy will be able to, get rid of 28 years of writer's block by doing these tasks or not. And just the fact that writer's block is an actual crime in the game, or a punishment, I mean. Not a crime, but a punishment. Like, you just can't write if you have writer's block in this game. And they put shackles on your wrists. For 30 years.
Sounds cool.
Keep them away from the keyboard.
Yeah.
Sounds unique.
You can't write.
So, if you have 4.5 hours to kill before the 15th, which this episode will be out, math eludes me.
The 12th.
The 12th. Okay, well, if you listen to this and you have 4.5 hours for 3 days, I highly recommend playing it if you haven't, because it kind of flew under the radar. Radar. What is wrong with me today? I don't know. At least you guys are having a laugh.
Roger. Zach, what about you, man? What have you been playing?
I finally delved into the SteamWorld franchise.
Oh, okay.
I've never always been aware of these games, never played them, but played through SteamWorld Dig, beat the whole thing. It's only like 5 hours long.
That game is so good.
I've never played it.
Oh, it's very fun. It's got an insane feedback loop. Like every 10 minutes, something new's happening. You're getting a new reward, or you're finding a new cave, because I'm sure people are aware because it's been out forever. But you're digging through the dirt one square at a time.
Okay.
And you're finding money along the way. Then you can bring the money back to this this steam robot frontier mining town.
It's a run-based randomizer, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it's kind of like, because the caves are procedurally generated, right? Every save file, but not if you die, they stay the same.
Gotcha.
It's not run based. But you do get some gear gated upgrades. Sorry, you were going to say, Scott.
If you like this one, I highly recommend jumping into the second one at some point. They expand on it in fantastic ways. It's really, really good. Yeah, so
I played through this game. I did feel like it describes itself as gear gated, but it's really not. You just like, you're not doing any like backtracking really.
Yeah, it's just like get down as deep as you can, and then
it'll be like
die and then go back.
Right, and you'll find it's like almost like finding a key to unlock. Like you need a double jump to get further down in the mine or whatever.
Yeah,
which
makes sense. You need a double jump to go down.
Yes, but it is super cool. The characters are very charming. I found myself weirdly invested in this weird robot lore, just of what you're digging and finding. And yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was cool. Just like every 10 minutes, something's happening. Get new dialogue, get new items, getting new cave puzzles, whatever. It was cool. But to your point, I will get to Dig 2, but first I jumped into SteamWorld Heist.
I'm really curious about this thing because I never played Heist. I have no idea what it is. I feel like it has something to do with cards, but I don't know for certain.
No, that's SteamWorld Quest. You're thinking.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of SteamWorld games.
Yeah, well, dude, I mean, the absolute stones on these guys to make a different genre every time, but they're still the same universe and characters. That's cool.
Right.
SteamWorld Heist is a turn-based tactical game. It's a little like the cover is very important as it is in XCOM, but it's all in 2D.
Mm-hmm. So
it's kind of a unique flavor there. But what the aiming and the weapon really reminded me of was Worms. If you ever played Worms, because you have to. Because it's not like you just target an enemy and it gives you like a percentage chance to hit or anything. Like you have to manually aim on your turn.
That sounds fun.
It is super fun. And you could do things like ricochet bullets off of the walls of because you're space pirates. And you can like ricochet the bullets off the walls of the metal ships. So if a guy's tucked down in cover, maybe you can shoot it off the ceiling and then it'll bounce off the wall behind him and then you can get a headshot on him that way.
Nice.
So it's just a lot of fun. And it has, You can change the difficulty per mission, so it's not like a lot of high pressure. It's just kind of basically how much bonus XP you want to get.
Right.
But it retains the absolute charm of the characters of SteamWorld Dig and has the same art style and the same kind of vibes and stuff. It's just I'm really digging it. And the way things upgrade. No, I see, digging it.
Yeah.
My bad.
I laughed at the pun, guy. Everyone listening, that's what he was referring to.
SeaWorld
You said that in text, or no, you said it on Twitter. I thought you were doing it on purpose, and now that you said it out loud, I realized you probably didn't mean it.
No, I think I just say dig too much, I guess. No, but yeah, SteamWorld Heist has stolen my heart.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, but it's really funny. You get these, and you get like one of 3 stars on every mission, and being a gamer as we all are, I have to get 3 stars on every mission before I can move on.
Yep,
obviously,
absolutely.
And I'm just really quite enamored with it, and I wasn't expecting, because SteamWorld Dig kind of has kind of a Western vibe to it that I didn't expect going in. But I definitely didn't expect the Space Pirate game to have that continuing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a boss called the Triplets in there named Blondie, Angel Eyes, and Tuco. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought that was just like, it's quite a fun little game, much longer than SteamWorld Dig. But
is it? Okay.
Yeah, probably. I think it's gearing up to be probably more 15-ish hours.
Gotcha.
But then I really want to jump into Dig 2 after this. I'm really feeling out this franchise. I like the way they're doing things.
I actually did a written review on SteamWorld Dig 2 if you want to get my impression. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Of course.
Hey, somebody's reading my reviews.
I read your reviews too. When did you...
Well, you guys edit them, so of course you're reading them.
Well, I'd read it even if I didn't edit. But
as I say, I'm reading it like 7 or 8 years later. But yeah, I read it.
Yeah, cool. Anything else you've been playing?
Oh, yes. Well, just briefly, I played the Alan Wake 2 DLC.
I didn't realize it was already out. I saw it was announced. I didn't realize it was out.
Oh, yeah.
It came out the day after the showcase.
Right. Sam Blake, he was on stage. He's like, yeah, the DLC, and it's coming. He checks his watch in less than 24 hours. Oh, I was so excited. Night Springs, it's in these 3 episodes. One is Rose, Alan Wake's biggest fan, and then you have the Quantum, the legally distinct Quantum Break main character, and then you have Jesse from Control as well.
Oh,
which is super cool. I only played the Rose one because I've decided since it's a TV show, I'm going to treat it like a TV show. I'll play 1 episode a week.
Oh, cool.
Stretch out the Remedy games as much as I can.
Yeah.
You have such, I can't think of the word, ability to hold off. I can't think of the word.
Restraint?
Restraint. Yes,
Restraint?
yes.
Yeah.
Like I if I'm digging something and I have the time, I'm going all. That's why I hate TV shows now that release entire seasons all at once.
Yeah,
because I can't, wait. I just as soon as that ending credits roll, I got to start the next one to see what happens.
It wasn't like easy. I really wanted to play the next one.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, you know what? Look, we're not going to get the Lake House DLC for probably several months, so may as well stretch out this Alan Wake 2.
Gotcha.
Even though, but this first one was so much fun. You're playing as Rose. She's Alan Wake's biggest fan. If you remember, she had a cardboard cutout of him in the first game.
Yes.
She's crazy.
I remember.
But it's just so much fun playing as her because she's so like happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
She'll be like, she's so excited to see Alan. She, like giddy hands clasping, but she's covered in blood of all these Taken that you've murdered.
That sounds kind of awesome. Actually,
it's pretty adorable. And like she doesn't call the Taken. They're the haters. Alan's haters.
Oh. I love her so much.
There's an army.
Brilliant, actually.
There's an army of haters coming after Alan, and she has to stop them.
She sounds like what the equivalent of a K-pop fan would be today. Take out the haters.
I think that's fair. Like when you like reload your gun, she's like, "Oops, I gotta feed my shotgun." It's just
feed the shotgun. Okay, she's adorable.
Yeah, she's definitely adorable. I don't want to give too much away, but I really like the episodes are introed by Mr. Door, doing a little Twilight Zone-esque intro.
Door.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, this stuff is great. It was only about an hour long, which I think is the perfect length of.
Oh yeah, and
to use
also
originality.
TV episode length.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's good stuff. I don't want to give too much away. If you liked Alan Wake 2, absolutely play Night Springs.
I cannot wait to dive in.
Is there a musical number?
There is not, but the combat music, you gotta hear the combat music.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may be selling me. How much is this?
I think you have to get it as part of
it's digital deluxe edition, but I saw that I think you can upgrade for $16 if you have Game Pass. I think it's 20 if you don't.
Yeah, I think it's $20. But you get this and the Lake House DLC later.
Yeah.
Oh.
You get both
of
yeah, you get all the DLC.
So it's basically, just a season pass. And the Lake House will be more of a substantial, continues the narrative kind of DLC. But this is absolutely delightful. Recommend. I can't speak to the other episodes yet, but I'm really looking forward to playing as Jessie.
Oh, that's really awesome.
Because she's going to have an understanding of what's going on in some way, right? Being the director of the FBC and all. That should be a lot of fun.
That universe is getting really interesting, and
it is
very curious to see where they're going with it.
And if it's anything like this first episode, this is Remedy at some of its weirdest.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I love Remedy being weird.
Like, if you die in this DLC, the loading screen says, next time, try using the power of love to survive.
Not the guilt trip.
That kind of energy. It's good. I like it. What about you, Scott? What have you been playing?
You guys have been playing some moderately newer stuff. I went in the Wayback Machine this week, and I hopped onto Nintendo Switch Online, and every once in a while I like to go in there into like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo and just see if I've missed anything new. Mm-hmm. And I went to the Game Boy one because I heard the Mega Man games were on there, and I saw Super Mario Land sitting there, and I was like, you know what? I want to jump into Super Mario Land. I haven't played that since the 90s. I mean, it's been a long time.
Right.
So I hopped into that, and that game is more difficult than I remember, but I think a lot of it is attributed to the Switch Joy-Cons. Number one, that game needs to be played with a gamepad, not a stick. And the thing that they use for a gamepad on the Switch is not great. It's just like the 4 buttons.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I'm going to play that anymore, I want to go like get my Pro Controller hooked up so I can just use the pad, because I think that would be a lot easier. But what a quirky Mario game. Like, it's like the music is outstanding, by the way. I forgot how good the music is in that game. But it doesn't feel like Mario music at all. Like, it just doesn't. Maybe it's just because it's been so long. But I mean, there's like parts where you're in a submarine shooting bullets at fish.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's weird stuff going on in this game. But I was having fun with it, and I got frustrated and actually got a game over, and I just moved on to something else. And that something else was Alleyway, which is basically like a brick breaker game. I played that for about half hour or so and had some good time with that. And then the reason I went in there at all was I wanted to see what the Mega Man games played like, because, I love Mega Man. Boy, the Game Boy ones are not nearly as tight as the Nintendo games are in terms of platforming. However, some of the level design I thought was really cool, and I don't remember this. I actually don't even know if I played the Game Boy Mega Man games as a kid, because there were so many of them, and
are the Game Boy versions like demakes of the
They're completely different games.
Completely different.
Okay.
But they use the same bosses, though. So, like, I only played the first one. It's like the same 6 bosses, same weaknesses and everything, but the levels are completely restructured, redesigned. They use some of the same assets, like enemy designs and things like that. But yeah. But what's really interesting about some of the level design is there are rooms where you have to navigate quickly. There are things that the environment does that you have to react to. Like I was playing Iceman stage, and there are icicles that fall from the stage that make a platform, and you have to jump on it, wait for another one to come, and then jump on that one. And if you don't do it in the time that it wants you to, it makes it impossible to pass the board. So you have to go down the ladder and reset the screen. You know what I mean? To make to make everything reset. And that's not something that's in the other Mega Man games, to my recollection. And I just thought that was kind of a cool little take. Also, the ratio of the power-ups versus Mega Man size, because of the limited screen, I think. Like, the little energy capsules that you get are larger than his head. Like, they're massive. I didn't play that very long, but it was just kind of fun to go back and play some old Mega Man games, because I don't even think the original Mega Man games are in the Nintendo, because they've got you can buy the Nintendo, like the Mega Man collection.
Right. Do they maybe have just the first one, or do they maybe have Mega Man X, or am I just wholly imagining this?
Dude, if they had, oh man, now you're making me think. I would have to go look it up, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
because I didn't play it because I have the Mega Man X collection on
Yeah, of
Xbox,
course,
so I
yeah.
just didn't bother. But so that was a little fun to kind of go back in the Wayback Machine. And then this morning was my weekly Baldur's Gate 3 trip, and
Baldur's Gate.
I've got a pretty fun story. I don't know if you guys listened to last week's episode, but Kevin had a little surprise for us.
I did not, but now I'm jealous you have music and I don't for my Korean corner.
We have Baldur's Gate 3 theme music for when I tell my stories each week.
Man,
So
my bad. I gotta listen to this.
so are you ready to hear my tale this week from Baldur's Gate 3 with Kevin? We didn't get to play with Paul this week, but it was just Kevin and I. Are you ready?
Yes.
For your tale of woe and wonder, I'm absolutely ready.
Yes.
Yeah, here we go. So, Baldur's Gate 3 this week, we're obviously reeling, and again, I have to preface, if you don't want anything spoiled, fast forward till you don't hear the music anymore.
Skip to the new game section.
There you go. We were reeling from the death of Shadowheart, who died at my hand last week, and Kevin has been giving me crap about it.
You had
by
to
a
go
text.
and kill his side chick.
Yes.
Wait, hold
Nice
on.
going,
Skip to the news section, not the new game section. You're gonna skip a lot of podcasts. You go
Yeah,
straight to
don't
the new
skip
games.
that
My
far
bad.
ahead.
Go to the news. Anyway, Scott, you were saying about murdering beloved characters.
Well, so before we actually even got to play, I didn't even think about it till the night before when I was going to bed. I was like, who are we going to have in our party now? Because we always have Kevin's character and my character, and we always have Karlach, because Karlach's awesome. And we had Shadowheart, and she was a healer. So like, who are we going to have now? So we had to have a discussion about who we were going to bring along with, because we needed someone to heal. We wound up going with Will, and Will is spelled W-I-L-L. He's a pretty cool character, but he's a warlock. We still haven't figured out the healing stuff yet, because, we don't have enough healing. But anyway, it took a minute to get him back to where we were, because we had to level him up, because he hasn't been leveling up with us. So Kevin had to go through and assign him all this and that, and so it took some time to do that. Started on our quest, and the first thing we did is we decided to go find this character that we were supposed to find, that our druid was by his bedside. This character that's I think his name is Daniel. I believe it's Daniel. And we realized we need something in order. There's an item that we need in order to wake him up. It's like a magical instrument, but we didn't know where it was. So I picked another quest to try to find it, and we wanted this place that was the place of healing, I think is what it's called. We had been here before. There are all these creepy nurses that reminded me of the nurses from Silent Hill a little bit.
Okay.
They've got those habits, and their eyes are covered, so you only see their mouths. They don't twitch or anything like that. But so I go up and I talk to this nurse, and she says something like, "Well, you're not ill." So and I tried to convince her, "No, I need to be seen right now. I don't want to get in line to see the doctor." Mm-hmm. And she says, "Nope, you're gonna have to wait." So my option was, and I had to roll for this to fake like I was sick. So and I won the roll, and so my character just starts fake heaving and looking like he's all sick, and then the nurse is like, "Oh, you look awful. Let's go take you to the doctor right now." So we go in there, and the doctor is this character by the name of Malice Thorm. Malice is spelled M-A-L-U-S. Malice is a boss. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. All of these Thorm characters are minions of the big bad in the game.
Oh, okay.
And I did not know that I was going to be running into a boss when they came into this. But Malice Thorm is a physician, and when I come into the room, he is basically teaching his nurses how to cure someone. They've got a live person strapped to a gurney, and he's going on and on about the correct way to heal somebody, and his way of healing somebody is by harming them. So he's got these mechanical arms with these long metal fingers, and he's just gouging this guy's eyes out on this table and saying, you have to heal through pain and all this. And I'm like, this is messed up.
Fight through the pain.
Right. So I'm like, this is going to be a pretty crazy boss fight, I figure, because he looks pretty menacing. He's got these goggles on, and he's just super dark, and his arms are way too long. And
I mean, his name is Malice, so.
Right. And so we start having a conversation with him, and he starts telling me about how he heals by harm. And how, look at how he's enjoying this healing, and the guy's just screaming and yelling in pain. So I start having a conversation with him, and he's like, well, it's your turn. Let's heal you, because you came in here like you were sick. And my conversation went, they said, well, what about these nurses? They've got these knives that don't look sanitary. I would have a problem cutting accurately with these knives. And he's like, yeah, I got to give you that. So what do you recommend they do? And I said, well, I think they need to practice. And he's like, oh, okay. So what should they do? And then the options were to either have two nurses practice on each other, or to practice on him. And I was like, I want them to practice on him. So I had to do a skill roll or ability check. I failed.
Oh, no.
I used an inspiration point to try to roll again. Failed again. And I'm like, I'm committed at this point. I used all 4 of my remaining inspiration points, which are basically like an extra roll. Like if you earn an inspiration point. And on my 4th one, I finally passed the ability check. And he's like, okay, you got a deal. And he lays himself down on the gurney and tells all the nurses to go ahead and do their thing to heal him.
Yeah.
And they just start stabbing the crap out of him. And he just sits there and takes it and enjoys it, and the boss is dead.
Wow.
I avoided the entire boss fight by convincing him to have his nurses practice on him.
How did the nurses react?
They just kind of walked away.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because Kevin told me that that boss fight is pretty brutal because all of the nurses actually like debuff him. So and he does this wind up attack where he does the surgical thing on you. And
do you mean they buff him?
Yes, I'm sorry, they buff him, or they debuff me.
Oh, okay.
Or they debuff our characters. So he's like, yeah, that was a rough fight. He's like, and again, Kevin is like, that did not happen that way for me. He's like, I had to fight this boss and it was rough. That's the second boss I've like weaseled my way out of, and I don't have a bard in my party, which is fascinating to me. So
you're a pro weaseler.
Apparently, or I'm just not stingy with my inspiration points until it actually matters. So that was fun. We did wind up. I did get the musical instrument I needed to. Maybe I had this backwards, but we did wind up going after our druid, and he convinced us that he had to go into this portal to rescue this person. And we're like, we're going to go with you. And he's like, no, you need to stay here. I need someone to guard the portal, this gate, because as soon as I go through this portal, all these shadows are going to come and try to destroy the gate and trap me in there. So it turned into an initiative battle where just hordes and hordes of shadow monsters are coming and trying to attack this gate, and we had to fend them off for 5 turns, which doesn't sound like a lot, but we tried it 3 times and we're not able to do it, so we decided we were going to go level up and get some more spells and healing spells and try again later. But I'm looking forward to seeing what transpires of that. So that is my weekly Baldur's Gate story, and I was not expecting it to be a good one this week after last week. Like, how do you top that?
Right.
But this whole thing just made me giddy with excitement about I got to avoid a pretty massive boss fight and still got the experience. And we hit level 8. So
Yay!
Oh, there you go.
level 8 is ours. So looking forward to next week already. Now that school is almost out. That's why I said thank God it's June 9th, by the way. Tomorrow is the last day of school for me.
Oh, awesome.
So hopefully I can get some more game time, and maybe Kevin and I can actually play some not on Sunday. Be pretty cool. I checked my clock, by the way. I am at 55 hours in Baldur's Gate 3, and we're only in Act 2. So
yeah, that sounds like what I've heard. What's the level cap?
I think it's 20, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And we're not really doing everything on the side. I'm trying to, but Baldur's Gate 3 will give you quests that you can't even do right away until you discover things later on. It's not like a traditional JRPG where you get a quest and then just go cross it off your list.
Right.
You just have tons, and you just have to kind of... And I think it's done by design so that you're not doing quest markers. You're just discovering the world. You know what I mean? You're just exploring and letting things happen naturally, which is how real life happens, right? We don't have quest logs. So, but yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying Baldur's Gate 3. I look forward to it every week. And man, what a trip that game is. I wish you were playing with us, Zach. And you too, Alyssa, actually.
I'm glad you
But-
included me in that.
Once you finish your Baldur's Gate 3, maybe it'll be our turn. We'll finally start playing it, and we'll just keep, Baldur's Gate corner going.
Yeah.
Dude, that would actually be fun for me to be the Kevin for you.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
us play together and me doing what he's doing and not ruining anything. And
That would be cool, yeah.
that sounds like fun. Let's do it.
I want
We'll
to
just do it like 4 or 5. Yeah, you could do it as well. Yeah, that'd be fun to have a 3-party. We do 3 with Paul. It'd be fun to get 4, but getting 4 people to coordinate is is pretty rough.
For a several dozen hour RPG, yeah, it seems pretty
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. I'd like to say it's short and sweet this week just because there's not a lot, but we got 2 big ones along with some trailers. But before we get to the news, I would like to remind you guys about Yetee t-shirts. We have partnered with Yetee, and they make some amazing shirts. I highly recommend you check it out. We actually gave one away to Mr. Paul Hine. I was just talking about him. He got that Proto Man t-shirt.
I saw
and
he posted a picture wearing it, and it looks
Yeah.
really good.
it looks really good. Those shirts are very high quality, and the screen printing is actually the kind that's not going to fade away.
Mhm.
They're very well made, and they've got so many different kinds of t-shirts available. Most of them are video game related, and they do the deal where they've got something that's only available on this day. Like I missed out on the Metroid one I wanted really badly because I didn't buy it, but they're like, oh, you got 24 hours to buy this shirt, and the next day there'll be another one, and it's really cool. So highly recommend these shirts. And if you check out his website, it is theyetee.com, THEYETEE.com. And he's a really great dude. We actually met with him and talked to him a little bit, and makes some very high quality products, and he's getting a lot of traction. So check it out. All right, moving on to the new trailers. I got a list here. There's a game called Saboris. I don't know if you guys saw this trailer. It looks hilarious. It is a
Is that
horror
the one
movie.
with chicken?
It's a
Yeah.
horror movie
Yeah.
from the perspective of a chicken trying to escape a slaughterhouse, which it actually looks a lot cooler than it sounds dumb. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Right.
it sounds
No,
dumb, but it sounds a lot cooler than
It's not playing it silly. It
yeah,
doesn't
it's
seem
actually
like.
playing it pretty serious.
Yeah.
It's pretty great. Volgar the Viking 2 got announced this week. As I mentioned before, Mega Man 1 through 5 are available on the Nintendo Switch Online, but those again are the Game Boy versions. Got a trailer for Power Wash Simulator, Alice's Adventure, and then a game called Wolfhound, which is a gear-gated game set place in World War II, coming to PlayStation, Switch, and Steam and Steam Deck on 2025. And then a remaster of The Thing. I believe that was 2002 is when that game came out. It's coming out to all platforms
It's
later this year.
Xbox and PS2, so
Yeah,
that
my uncle
sounds-
had it on PS2. I remember
Yeah.
that game vividly.
And then, of course, the Summer Games Fest had their opening presentation this past Friday. And then just a mere few hours ago was the Microsoft 2024 Xbox Games Showcase. Zach, let's start with you.
Just say, yeah, how do you want to do this? Are we just gonna go down the line? I mean,
Let you know what? Let's do this. I want to.
Yeah.
Can I go first? How about that?
sure.
Of course.
Because I know we're gonna for sure talk about the Summer Games Fest and Microsoft.
Well, I hope so.
Let me talk about a couple of these trailers really quick. And first off, Volgar the Viking. You guys have heard me talk about this game in the past, right? The original.
Yes,
I
I've
remember
heard.
Have either of you played them? Alyssa,
No.
you would hate
No,
it.
I was gonna say no. It doesn't seem like my kind of game, but then you just iterated that. So
it. Yeah.
No, I have not played Volgar the Viking.
Volgar the Viking is my Dark Souls in terms of it's a hard game that I like. It is unforgivingly hard, and I absolutely love it, which doesn't fit me.
Right,
I
that is not typical.
Right, and I don't know why that game clicked with me so well. I never there's only like 5 levels, and I never made it to the 3rd level. I think I got to the boss of the 2nd. Pure memorization, that game, but like in ways that feel just awesome. And the sequel looks like more of that, but expanded on it. I had no idea this was coming. August 6th can't come soon enough because I'm going to. It makes me want to go re-download the original and try to jump back into that. But it's gonna be like
Finally.
starting from scratch.
Finally beating it.
That probably won't happen, but
The trailer for Volgar the Viking 2 reminds me of it feels like a game you would rent from Blockbuster a few weekends in a row. You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a Genesis game. It really
Definitely
does.
Yeah.
Even I don't know why I'm saying this, but even the way that game functions in terms of like how the jump works feels like a Genesis game as opposed to a Super Nintendo game.
Okay.
I can't explain to you why it feels like a Genesis game, but it does, and I'm here for it. I love it.
I trust your judgment.
The other one that I am all about is Wolfhound. Did you guys watch the trailer for Wolfhound?
I have not.
Yeah,
Man.
I didn't. It is gear gated. You said.
It looks like it.
Okay.
That's how they described it in the press release that I got.
Okay.
But it looks like slightly better Nintendo, like 8-bit graphics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without the screen tearing and all that kind of stuff, or the whatever. But it just looks. The bosses look great. The navigation, everything just looks so cool. And it's set in World War II. When have we ever had a side-scrolling World War II game that wasn't Metal Slug? You know what I mean?
Right. I thought that was a unique aspect to me. The idea of a gear gated World War II game sounds cool as hell. That's why I was asking. Yeah.
Yeah, like you get a jetpack, which
Right.
double jump never makes sense, right? But a
Right.
jetpack in World War II, well, it doesn't make sense, but it makes more sense than a double jump.
Yeah, it's more scientifically accurate than a double jump, at least.
Right. Yeah. So those two trailers stood out to me a great deal, and I'm. The thing is that Wolfhound looked done, and that thing isn't coming out till 2025.
I gotta
Oh,
make sure
wow.
it's good.
I'm okay. I'm okay. It's not like I'm wanting for games right now, but that is one I would like to play right now. That is a Scott Clark game.
2025 is heating up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm
it's
excited about I'm excited about the Thing remastered. I never played the original, so this is my chance.
I didn't either. It looks very like old school Resident Evil, like survival horror, fixed camera
Yeah.
angles kind of thing.
I remember from the PS2 version, when watching my uncle play it, you always had to be careful. Like, you never knew which one of your crewmates would be infected by the Thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
like, you had to keep an eye on their sanity meters and stuff like that. And if they did become infected, I think you had to kill your crewmates, which would make sense with the, being with the movie.
Mhm.
I just remember my uncle, like, calling the character stupid and stuff. He's like, look at this stupid guy. I'm like, he's infected by the Thing. He's infected by the Thing. He's like, he's still stupid.
And doesn't it take place after the events of the movie?
I
So, like,
honestly
you actually come across
can't
things that
remember
happen?
because I was too young. I was 10, so I don't remember.
Because there was a not a remake, but there was another movie called The Thing that actually
Yeah,
took
that was a
place
prequel. Yeah.
before the events. So
Mhm.
like you actually saw why things happened in the second one, like why there was the axe in the wall, and things like that. So you could actually go watch that movie, watch The Thing, and then play this game, and just get like a trilogy of The Thing stories, which is kind of cool.
The Thing
But,
prequel, answering questions you never asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, people liked it. Fans of the original really liked it. From what I
I mean, I watched it. I didn't think it was horrible. It was a good time. It's not like it's not a masterpiece like The Thing is. But, I
Mhm.
mean, it's not, it's not terrible. Like, it's fun. It's fun.
Well,
And
the original
Mary
had
Elizabeth Winstead.
right. She's great, but she's no Kurt Russell or Keith David.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it was never. They were never going to top that.
Yeah, I mean, don't go in expecting, The Thing level of quality with The Thing from 2011 or so.
Mhm.
Not the same level of quality, but still, it's a fun time.
Was that 2011? Was that long ago?
I think so. I think that was the year it came out.
Holy cow, that does not seem like that was 13 years ago.
I know.
Wow.
That doesn't seem like it's been. Oh God, I feel old now.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, anyway, moving along. You guys just want to do the Summer Games Fest?
Yeah,
next?
may as well go in order.
Go in order here. This was on Friday, obviously. I'm going to be completely direct with you guys. I did not watch this one live. I was unavailable to watch it. So I watched a recap. And I'm a little glad I watched the recap because I went to look at how long the presentation was, and it was over 2 hours long.
Mhm.
And I feel like I got everything I needed in that 15-minute recap that IGN put together. So, and I'm not knocking it, but if I, just know that my thoughts on this are not, I didn't watch it. Now, Alyssa, you watched it, right?
I did watch this one.
Okay. So how was the presentation? Because this has become like the unofficial kickoff to E3 season, right?
Well, pretty much the presentation to me, it was very reminiscent of, the Game Awards.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels like the Game Awards without any kind of awards whatsoever. So that's
and
the same kind.
Less Hollywood celebrities.
True. Less Hollywood celebrities.
Was Kojima there?
No, he was not there.
Wow.
That is
But,
strange.
I mean, it's a similar vibe, just less celebrities. I don't even think there were there any celebrities? I don't recall.
Just Jason Blum, I guess, would be the closest thing.
Yeah, from Blumhouse.
Did you watch it too, Zach?
Yes-ish. I watched it later, and then I skipped past stuff I didn't care about, like Civ 7 and Street Fighter,
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it in kind of a fast-forward way.
Gotcha.
I did see Jeff Keighley's little intro where he kind of took a shot at the big publishers, and that was kind of nice to see.
Oh, I didn't. What did he say?
Because since he's basically the face of the video games industry, it was nice to hear him take them a little bit to task, in a very safe way. But he just basically plastered on screen the top 10 best-selling games on Steam this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, all of them are developed by smaller studios, and, only a handful of them had big publishers. And he's basically just like, hey, look, man, you keep treating your employees bad. They're noticing they don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
So you might want to think twice before you treat your companies poorly, because they can just go off and clearly make a bunch of money on their own.
It's a pretty ballsy move for him to do that.
It was, yeah. I was surprised to actually hear him say that, yeah.
I actually gave him for a guy who was then about to show a bunch of trailers for those very companies.
Yeah, right.
True, yeah.
I saw people on Twitter like really giving him a hard time because they revealed how much it costs for a trailer to be.
Yeah,
at the
I did
games
see that.
showcase.
Yeah,
I don't remember the number, but
it was $250,000 for a minute, and then for each additional minute, it was an extra $100,000.
What is this, like the new 900 numbers?
I mean, I say, I hate to defend the guy, but that's pretty cheap as far as advertising slots go.
Well, if you compare it to the Super Bowl, sure.
Well, sure.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
But I mean, it's also, it's watched by tens of millions of people. I could,
Yeah. I mean, it's all the people that you want watching it.
Right. And it does make you question, why then are there so many ads?
That's a good point, too.
I didn't see very many in this, personally.
No, not in I'm saying the Game Awards.
Oh, yeah, the Game Awards for sure.
Which is mostly a compilation of ads anyway. So why am I watching Doritos commercials?
Yeah.
Got a commercial in between our commercials.
Yes.
And again, I didn't watch it live, but man, everybody was complaining about it on Twitter, and even in our Discord, we're not very happy or very impressed.
He set expectations pretty heavily beforehand.
That was going to be my point too. Kind of said most of this stuff is known quantities,
right,
or something like that.
So what else you want? He told you what to expect, and you were upset that it wasn't what you wanted anyway.
You're upset he didn't lie to you.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, people always find something to be upset about, no matter what.
That's true.
Dude, I made the mistake of looking at Twitter after the Xbox One and saw some of the haters. Like, did we see the same thing? I don't know. Anyway. Well, how do you guys want me to do this? Do you want me to read through the whole list? I feel like everybody has seen it, or do we just want to say things that maybe stood out to us?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what do we raise our hand to let you know when we want to speak? I mean,
no, Zach, you go ahead. Why don't you? Which one stood out to you, and then we'll go Alyssa.
What do we? Yeah. I will say right off the bat, Lego Horizon Adventures. What is going on? What are we doing at PlayStation Land?
Thank you, because I did not understand that at all.
It's just of their rich history of intellectual property. Mm-hmm. Is Horizon the one you need this much more of? And you love Horizon, right, Scott?
I love Horizon. I don't want to play this.
I do as well, but
look, I can see it somewhat because the idea of robot dinosaurs is so childlike in its idea. Mm-hmm. Like I could see how you get there, but the Horizon games really, they're not like leaning into the cartoony, wacky fun of that idea, right? They take it pretty seriously.
Yeah, they're serious games.
So I don't know. It's just kind of a weird translation to Lego. A little surprising that it's coming to Switch right away, but I guess that's probably how you convince them to make a Lego Horizon game, is that they need to make their money back elsewhere, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just don't understand. I think I've said it before, but they're really trying to make Horizon happen. It's just not going to happen.
It's fetch.
Yes, it is fetch. I know it sells millions and millions of copies, but it's a little bit like Avatar, right? Where it seems to make all this money, but I just don't hear people talk about it ever.
Yeah. I mean, I bought both of them on day one.
Right. But it's not like, it seems like millions of people play them and enjoy them, but it doesn't feel like it garners a lot of like love. You know, like where I don't feel like I see a lot of the diehard Horizon fans like I do for other successful franchises. But
You
maybe
never
I'm
see anybody wearing a Horizon t-shirt.
No.
Yes, exactly. I've never met anyone with a Horizon tattoo.
Yeah. Good point too. Although those
Yeah.
would make pretty cool tattoos.
It would actually.
I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. It is bewildering, and every time I see another Horizon thing announced, my first thought is always, well, yeah, Herman Hulse is in charge now.
But was he when this was in early development?
No, well, he would have been in charge of the studios, right? Not in
Right.
his CEO position, so he still would have been like calling those shots.
Sure.
I just think it's interesting that like the last franchise he helped to make at his company before he went into executive world is the one that you see plastered everywhere. That's an interesting connection. That's all.
And was it the first game shown, by the way?
Oh, at the summer, yeah, it was the opening of SGF.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Indeed.
Cuff Bust. I don't know. Did you watch the trailer for this one? I don't know why I
Yeah,
just
I saw
went
it,
Max
yeah.
Header in there for a second, but
Yes,
I don't know why I found it weird, but like it's these like cute, adorable koala-looking characters, and at the end, there's two of them sitting on the beach smoking a joint.
Sure.
That
Yeah.
I mean, I understand it's legal now, but I feel like that was one of the first times I've seen just a blatant use of that in a game that wasn't like a Grand Theft Auto or something. And when all the characters are cute and blowing up toilets and stuff, I don't know. That game looks very weird to me.
It opens with you breaking out of prison. You know, these aren't good koalas.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
They're some bad boys. I did this. This was I liked seeing this year though, because I liked the Summer Games Fest because it was a mix of like big games, mid games, small games. You know, it felt like everybody was equally valid here, which was cool.
Yeah. Alyssa, you want to pick one that interested you?
I just thought it was interesting that Blumhouse is getting into games now. We know they're horror films, and the fact that they always have a pretty low budget, and then make way past their budget with the films. So to see it applied to video games is interesting. I'm curious about how these are going to turn out because from the trailers, you don't get much from these games, just little snippets. So I don't really know how they're going to play out, like what kinds of games they are besides horror games. But I do think it's interesting they announced Project C, which is a collab between Sam Barlow from Her Story and Telling Lies, and then Brandon Cronenberg, the son of the legendary director David Cronenberg, who also directed the films Possessor and Infinity Pool. So that one could be interesting. They didn't show, I don't think they showed any gameplay for that one. They just announced it was a collaboration.
Right.
I just think it's kind of cool that Blumhouse is going into the gaming industry and making horror games.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how they turn out.
I thought Crisol Theater of the Gods looked cool out of that batch. Where you're like using your blood to give your gun ammunition.
Yeah, that
or
one.
whatever.
Yeah, that one looked cool to me. Yeah.
I see.
Zach, you mentioned Civ 7. The funny thing is I just realized when I was going through my Switch, like the games that I've purchased in the past that I could re-download, I bought Civilization 6. It was like I got a what do you call it? Where they have a pricing error. I got that game for like $6 and never played it.
Oh, nice.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play Civ 6 sometime. Never touched it. So
the Switch. It doesn't seem like the ideal place.
really, I would think
Right.
playing the Civ game on the go would be great.
I've never played a Civ game, but I mean, it seems like it'd be easy to pick up and play and put it down and come back to it.
I
only
guess it's
played
hard for me to imagine Civ 6 running well on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Okay. Yeah. Graphically, yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe they tone it
Technically,
down.
graphically, yeah.
You know what? I want to circle back. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. I'm all in on this, man. Looks cool. I see they're trying to copy the Rocket League and Fall Guys path to success by giving away free on PlayStation Plus for the first month, or included in your subscription, rather.
That's bold because I feel like
Mhm.
people would easily pay money for that.
I do, but I think it speaks to the idea that they want this to run for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's smart, and it's also nice because it's being published by Warner Brothers Games. So I'm happy I can try it for free to see how badly they're going to monetize this thing to death. But I think the idea of like online multiplayer Quidditch sounds fun as hell.
I mean, that's what people wanted from Hogwarts Legacy, right? Is to be able to play Quidditch, because you couldn't do that.
That's what I wanted, for sure. But
Maybe I can finally understand that game because I feel like that game just feels so broken in terms of like why even bother with anything but the snitch.
Yeah, well, the movies don't paint a good picture. Have you read the books?
Mm-hmm.
Because they give a lot of examples of games that weren't decided by the snitch, or the thunderstorm happened to pass by the game, so no one could see the snitch. So it took like 4 days to finish the game, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So but no, I mean, on the surface, I mean, you're right. You would think most of the games would just be decided by the snitch.
Yeah.
Maybe it was worth like 50 points into the game, it might make a little more sense. But either way, I'm excited to play. So I like that the Harry Potter Quidditch game back on Xbox and PS2, Quidditch World Cup back in the day.
I never played it.
I'll be happy to play a new one. Although back in those days, you just got everything right away. There were no season passes. You just got a game and got to play it, and that was fun. And I'm sure that won't be the case here.
I did not know that Fatal Fury was still a thing. I thought that series was long gone.
I just remember a few years ago when they made Terry Bogard female in a Fatal Fury game.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, I forget which one it was, but you could play as a female Terry Bogard, and people were mad. And the hat that would say Fatal Fury on it said Fatal Cutie.
Oh.
Well,
she was a very pretty Terry Bogard character, by the way, but people were mad. I remember that. I've never played a Fatal Fury game, though. I just remember seeing the uproar over the fact they gender swapped Terry Bogard in that specific game.
Sure.
Or at least it was an option.
Zack, anything else?
Well, Alan Wake 2, man, is getting a physical copy or a physical version.
Alan Wake 2, yeah.
Yeah. That's
fine. That seems a little late. But
yeah, they also said they never would. So I feel like, is it a little bit of false advertising so they can get people to double dip? I don't know. But I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you want the collector's edition, though, in the United States at least, you have to get it through limited run.
That is disappointing to hear, no doubt. I'll look forward to that.
6 months.
Well, man, you're optimistic. No, it's great. The physical version is $80, which is $10 more than you might think. Mm-hmm. But you do get the season pass, and you get a DLC code for Alan Wake 1 Remastered, which is a little silly because I'm confident anybody buying Alan Wake 2 physical already owns Alan Wake Remastered. Seems pretty likely.
You might be surprised, man. People like to get in on whatever is popular at the time. Right.
But I'm, I can't deny that I'm happy to see the digital-only experiment failed. They clearly had to go physical. I hate to wish ill on Remedy, but the idea of making that game digital only was stupid. Because as much as digital is on the rise, as we saw with those recent leaks, right? Even something as recent as God of War Ragnarok still sold 2/3 of its copies physically.
Yeah.
So true, physical is still something that matters for at least for expensive games.
Well, there's people understand that, like, if you buy it digitally, you might not own it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
There's a possibility that something could happen.
You can't lend it to a friend. If you don't like it, you have no recourse other than to just deal with it. You can't try to sell it or anything like that to make some of your money back. You're just stuck. So, yeah, I can definitely understand why you would wait for a disc for a video game that expensive. But I'm happy to see that. And it was great to see Sam tell me that the DLC was going to be available almost immediately. That was
and he did the little, the opening moves from the dance, which is always fun to watch.
And as someone who, has followed Remedy since their very first release, it is nice to see Sam start to get that kind of uproarious, crowd reaction when they see him. It's nice.
He's just such a cool, seems like a positive, cool guy.
Yeah, I think so.
I want to be his friend.
Sure.
One game that stuck out to me that surprised me that I like it because I am not a big Power Rangers fan. I thought that Power Rangers Rita's Rewind looked kind of fun. It basically made a beat 'em up, which Power Rangers just makes sense for a beat 'em up.
It does, yeah.
5 different characters and kind of throw back the little pixelated beat 'em up. Looked kind of fun.
Sure.
I don't know if I'd buy it, but I'd probably give it a few rounds if it were on Game Pass or something. It won't be, but
Yeah.
anything else stand out to you guys?
Well, there were 2 games that they looked gorgeous, but I'm scared to play them because I feel like both will make me sob.
Okay.
One is, I heard it pronounced 2 different ways in this showcase, so I don't know how you're supposed to say it. Even in the game trailer, they said the name 2 different ways, so I don't know how it's pronounced. Jeff Keighley pronounced it Neva. In the game, they pronounced it both Neva and Neva, so we'll just go with Neva since that was said twice.
Never ever.
And then
Ever?
Deer and Boy, both beautifully, they're both, the graphics are beautiful in both. They both have people with cute animals. But I'm like, I feel like both are going to be super sad. I don't know if I can handle it, but they both look stunning. I know Neva is from the developer of Grease, which I loved Grease.
They just like making games that people don't know how to pronounce.
Yeah. But there is combat in Neva, unlike Grease.
Okay.
And then Deer and Boy, it didn't really show much gameplay besides, you're going with this little baby deer in your backpack, but then the deer appears to be growing older and older, but I think the boy becomes a teenager, but it just shows them growing older, but going through different landscapes, so I don't really know what you do in that game, besides it did show them hiding from mutated animals, like huge giant mutated warthogs and things like that. But I feel like both are gonna make me sob, but they both look gorgeous. I'm just scared to play them.
Yeah.
Zach?
I still feel like I have a lot of games on here I'm actually interested in. So I don't know if you want me to. I think Phantom Blade Zero looks super cool.
That does look cool.
It did look cool, yeah.
It look, it's kind of got Souls energy, but with a lot of cinematic flair to it, which I really appreciated. I think that looks very cool.
Also, is 2025 going to be the year of the samurai game?
I was gonna say, who knew what Ghost of Tsushima started?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. There's a lot of samurai games coming. Slitterhead, I'm intrigued by just because it looks so kind of unique, and it's not what I expected from the Silent Hill creator.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting what I saw with that either.
You're like this little alien jumping from consciousness to consciousness. It looked like, I don't know, very unique. I was intrigued. And then I guess should I just go, Scott?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, go.
Go for it.
Okay. Cairn, I'm very interested in because it's from the game makers who made Fury and Haven. I don't know if you remember either of those games.
I remember Haven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you reviewed. That was the one with like the love story, right?
Right. Yes. The couple's already together love story, which is unique. And this looks an awful lot like Jusant.
It does.
Where you're climbing and you have to choose when to put your little, whatever the hell they're called, the little things you stab in the rock. But it looks like a mountain climbing game. I like the emotion from the main character, where like she just kept screaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was so angry at how much longer she had to go. This is a game where I probably wouldn't be as interested if it wasn't for the developer, but I've loved both of their games so far, so I will trust them that this is going to be something special.
Fair enough.
Very dope. Yo, then shout out to Sonic X Shadow Generations.
As a guy that recently played the original Generations on Xbox 360 for the first time, that kind of made me want to play it again. I just thought Shadow looked pretty cool. Yeah,
dude, I want those Shadow levels really badly, and I haven't played Sonic Generations in years, so
it looks slick, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And then and it's cool that like, hey, we're gonna remaster this game, but also we're gonna add on a bonus game. Yeah, that's nice.
A little Bowser's Fury.
Yes, yeah. That's a great counterpoint. This will surely be better though because it's Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
I'm sure Kevin would agree with you.
Yeah. Never mind that Bowser's Fury was exceptional.
So good.
And then this one, Kunitsu Agami, Path of the Goddess. This is the new Capcom game. Mm-hmm. And it looks like a really interesting kind of action, strategy, tower defense hybrid. I think it looks really interesting, really unique. I love the art style. But I think, you shouldn't judge a game on its price, but I was surprised when I went to go wishlist this on PlayStation that it's $50.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't that seem surprising, right?
For a Capcom game, for sure.
No, I meant for like this. I don't know. To me, it looked like a cheaper game. So my bad.
Oh, you're going the other way. You thought it looked, because I don't remember the trailer. Again, I watched this 15 minutes thing like on the way home today.
It looks, kind of like a mid-tier. The camera's all pulled back. It looks like a very smaller in scope project. I just, I don't know. I got a little sticker shock at that.
I mean, it will be on Game Pass day one.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't want to pay the $50, and if you have an Xbox, I know you do, but
right. Yeah, then I'll check it out there. But I just think it was cool to see Capcom do something like this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Something new while they're on their hot streak that they're on.
So that was the Summer Games Fest opening presentation. Again, it was about what I expected after reading Jeff Keighley's tweet about lowering everybody's expectations.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was terrible, but I didn't feel like I was blown away either. It was
Same here.
It was fine.
Was there another showcase you were blown away by, perchance?
Oh man. Now I don't know if it's part of the reason why I actually did watch this one. I was literally had my phone watching this while I was at my in-laws grilling chicken and brats we celebrated Father's Day a week early. And so I've got my phone and my earbud. I'm trying to watch trailers and add to the format the list of the titles. And guys, I think I said this in Discord today. I feel bad saying this because we get a lot of fingers pointed at us for calling us Xbox fanboys, but this showcase, guys, was outstanding. I thought it was really good. There were so many things in here that piqued my interest. I feel like there was a little bit of something for everybody. It has
something for everyone.
Yeah.
The old IGN adage.
They kicked things off with Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which I think we all kind of expected.
Yeah.
And made the official announcement that it's going to come on Game Pass on day one, which is outstanding news for me because I can just play the campaign and never
Yeah,
have
me
to
too.
I don't have to subscribe to GameFly for a month this year. That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah.
I can actually play the campaign of one for once in however many years because I never got to play any of the campaigns of any of these.
Oh man,
they're good fun. What's the director that I'm thinking of? Is it Jerry
Michael
Bruckheimer?
Bay?
Michael Bay. It's like an interactive Michael Bay film. And they've got a release date of October 25th. So that's not too far to wait. Weird thing.
I love that I'm old enough now.
That's
where, like,
where I was going with.
The war I remember growing up with is now like 30 years in the past.
Yeah. That feels a little weird that a Call of Duty game is based on a war that took place while I was alive.
Right, but then you put the numbers on it, right? You're like, oh yeah, that was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes us feel even older.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I kind of felt good about it. I was like, oh, I'm finally old enough to where the wars I remember are video games. It was like when seeing Saddam Hussein in a trailer was wild.
Mm-hmm.
Just wild. There he was. Yeah. I don't know. I think it looks like great fun. How does that work,
do you think? They have to get permission to do that? Or is that...
I think not in history, right?
I don't know.
Do you think they got permission from the Hitler estate to send him to Venus in Wolfenstein?
There's no way they got permission.
Anyway. And then they followed that up right away with Doom, The Dark Ages, which they didn't give a date, just said 2025. Man, that game looks awesome, dude.
I love that it just doesn't make sense and it doesn't matter.
Thank you.
Okay, so I just had to butt in and say I was not able to watch this before recording, so I have no idea what any of these trailers are.
The Doom guy has like long hair sticking out of his helmet, and he's got like spikes all over, like he's a medieval.
Yeah, he looks like
Doom
a medieval
guy.
knight. He's got a shield and a shotgun.
Yeah,
he's got a shield and a boomstick.
Okay.
But let me tell you, Alyssa, the shield pops out some saw blades and starts spinning, and he's just chopping
that's
up
so cool.
demons. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, Alyssa. I feel like I hate to give you these spoilers for this showcase, but
I'm gonna watch it later. I was just letting the listeners know if I don't chime in a bunch, just because I don't have any knowledge, and that's my fault.
That's fine.
It's just Doom guy in medieval times fighting demons for some reason, and that's all I need.
Yeah.
I will say that the music just it didn't bang the same way, but I assume
Not quite.
Mick Gordon's not going to be here, right?
And I feel like there was a lot. I didn't play the second one because I heard the second one was very hard.
Yeah.
This one looked like a little more manageable. It didn't feel quite as. It doesn't look quite as frenetic, and there's a lot of like dodging, almost like Returnal-esque dodging.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of just in your face kind of thing. So I don't know. It just the things that you're able to do and like the things that your weapons do, and it looks so cool. I need to go back and play 2016.
I still really liked Eternal, but it was nowhere near the masterpiece that Doom 2016 is. And this to me looks a little more in line with Doom 2016 because Eternal just got too busy. It was trying to do too much. Had those platforming sections for some reason. That's just I don't need a wall climb as a Doom guy. Thank you.
Yeah.
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 State of Decay 3, I think looks really cool, but I've known very little about that franchise to know if it's something I actually want to play.
I remember I loved the first Day of Decay, and then I played the second one, and I didn't gel with that one for some reason. I don't know, maybe just because the first Day of Decay was, back when, Xbox Live Arcade was going on, and, forgot the name of it. The smaller games you could get.
Xbox Live Indie games?
Yes, yeah. It was during that time, so I was playing that in Battle Block Theater at the same time. I remember vividly.
Okay.
So I loved State of Decay back then, but then I played the second one and I didn't gel with it, so I'm curious about State of Decay 3.
Yeah.
Check it out. Dragon Age Veilguard finally got re-announced. This used to be Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I don't know if you guys know my history with Dragon Age, but I played the first two, Love Them to Death. Inquisition I thought was okay, but I read all the books and stuff back in the day. I've got the encyclopedias for Dragon Age. This game looks awful, just truly terrible.
Oh, no.
Really?
I have no interest at all. It looks bad. I don't know what the hell. Like the tone was all off. It wasn't like Dragon Age, because Dragon Age, was heavily inspired by A Song of Ice and Fire before Game of Thrones even had a TV show. And this didn't look like this. Looks like a bunch of people playing D&D or something. The energy of it.
Hey,
I was gonna say, Scott's
that's fine, but it's not fine for Dragon Age.
Okay.
That is not the franchise. I understand there are 0 people left who worked on Dragon Age to make a Dragon Age game. But yeah, this was like almost heartbreaking to watch. It was so far away from what I recognize as Dragon Age.
Okay, now I'm scared to watch this trailer because I really enjoyed all 3 of the previous games. So, but I have not read the books like you have. I am not as knowledgeable.
Well, it's like I haven't kept up with it in a few years, so there may have been some books and stuff I've missed. It's just there was a time where I was deeply into Dragon Age, and I was excited to have a reason to go back and feel that energy again. And maybe I'm just older now, and and it's just a natural attrition of a loss of interest. But dude, I couldn't believe how disappointing this trailer was.
Wow, I was not expecting that. I was expecting quite the opposite from you. We got more info on Starfield, Shattered Space DLC coming in 2024. I got real excited for a minute when they started doing Fallout.
Yeah.
And then it was an expansion for Fallout 76, which is the one Fallout game, or is a Fallout game that I have not played. But it's their first map expansion, and that's going to be dropping on the 12th. So by the time you hear this episode, called Skyline Valley. But the one I want to talk about is Expedition 33.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, this game looks awesome to me.
Dude, this game looks awesome.
This might have been one of my favorites from the show.
I'm disappointed Alyssa didn't see this trailer because I think she would agree with us.
I know. I'm over here like, what's it about? Is it about aliens?
No, it looks like a turn-based JRPG.
Dude, yeah, it's made like it looks very French made, but it is a turn-based RPG. But it looks like a big budget turn-based RPG.
And they do that. You know how we like those action commands in JRPGs, like in the Paper Mario's and or Legend of Dragoon and that kind of thing. But they do, instead of it just one thing, there's like repeated, like multiple button presses, like little QTEs whenever you do an attack. Which
Right.
I feel like I've not seen that where it's like you're trying to time each and every one of these different attacks, and it looks very cinematic, and the camera kind of pulls out and back in with each hit, and
Yeah.
man, this game looks really, really cool to me.
Well, and just the setting, the idea of this, what is it, the goddess called the Paintess, and she
Mhm.
paints a different number on like this mountainside every year. She's counting down. And so everybody age 34 just vanishes into dust when she paints the number. Then every year she's counting down more and more. So you probably feel pretty lucky if you just turn 30, like 32 that year or whatever. So you get to, or 28 that year. You're like, oh, finally, I'll be too old to get vanished. That's great.
Right.
But it's just, that's such a unique idea. And
Yes.
so you're going to go try to kill the god, basically, it seems like, or stop her from painting the numbers that kills people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just what a clever, unique idea. The gameplay looked great. The character designs, the art style. Yeah, I was blown away, man. Looked great. Game
Pass day one. They don't know
Right.
what day. I just said 2025, but that looks great. I feel like I'm
Absolutely.
talking too much. Zach, you want to keep going?
Sure. Well,
I feel
can
bad.
talk
I
about-
feel bad because we didn't go through every one in the last one, but like so much more interested me here.
Well, we're scooting past some. Yep. Starfield DLC, Fallout 76 DLC. We're not
Yeah.
lingering
Yeah.
and everything. Well, I could say my game of the show, South of Midnight.
Yeah.
I thought this looked exceptional. It's like kind of like bayou magical
Yeah.
realism kind of setting. She was talking to a bayou fish while she was swimming along and assassin each other.
Well, it was like
Uh,
a huge, a massive size character that's just talking like just anything else, and his
Right,
mouth is moving
yeah.
like in, like
It was
just-
cool. And you're trying to distract this gator that is so large it has a forest growing on its back,
Yeah.
That's so cool.
ringing this church bell, and then the gameplay itself looks so, I guess adventure-y, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Like it felt. This is probably going to sound insulting, but it felt like a game you would see on 360, but with the production values of a modern game.
Right.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
And doesn't
Yeah.
the animations also have that like Spider-Man
Yeah, right? It's
across
like
the universe
animated
style?
on the twos or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is definitely unique to see in action, or at least for me. I don't know if I'm sure other games have done it, but yeah, dude, I was last year when they announced this, I was hoping it would look good because it was just a CG trailer.
Yeah,
but
because I was intrigued by that trailer as well last year. So
but the idea of this kind of voodoo bayou action, adventure game sounded cool, and I was so happy to see that it did look that good. I thought this looked exceptional, man. I cannot wait. The back-to-back Expedition 33 and South of Midnight, I was like, ooh, video games are great, man.
And what a cool, unique character too.
Oh yeah, she's
know,
great.
like-
She's great.
She's just a really cool looking character. I mean, with that Louisiana accent.
Right, I said the voice acting's so good for her.
Yeah.
I don't know the voice, but yeah, dude, I'm excited for South of Midnight. I look forward to getting the platinum trophy on South of Midnight, no doubt.
Took me a second. It's the second time.
he even prepared you. He said he was going to
Yeah.
do it.
I was gonna do it, and I totally forgot.
Repeat my joke. No, I mean that is a reality, right? Of any Xbox game now is like, when will it come to PlayStation?
Yeah, well, they were talking this week about like, the rumor is that Halo Combat Evolved is going to be rebuilt from the ground up in Unreal 5, and it's going to be available on PlayStation.
Yeah, well, luckily that's just a rumor, but I do firmly believe. I mean, once Halo or Gears comes to PlayStation, like it's over, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Like how could you realistically be, say, an Xbox fan?
Yeah.
Other than you just
I
be
don't
into
know, man.
Microsoft Gaming and Game Pass.
After this show, man,
I told you
feeling-
they had to come out swinging, didn't I?
You
Yeah.
did. I didn't think it was going to happen, but man, there's so many things in this trailer. I mean, I don't mean to talk down about Warcraft. I have not played the game, but they mentioned a new The War Within. It's
Yeah.
coming to PC on 8/26, which if it's on PC, does that mean Game Pass PC?
No idea, man.
I didn't
I don't know.
catch that for some
Okay,
reason. So
Well, they don't want to do that with World of Warcraft, right? Because they want to charge you $15 a month for just it.
subscription. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But then the Snake Eater trailer.
Snake Eater.
Maybe it's because I just played the first one on the collection a little while ago. But holy crap, does it look good? Does it look sharp? It's just I thought this game looks really fantastic, and even though I never played it, I think I may have to play it now.
Okay, yeah, good. You should.
It's a masterpiece of a game.
Right. It's the best.
I mean,
one.
I already know the twist. I already know how it ends and everything, but I want to experience those moments that I did from like 1 and 2 that just made it so uniquely Metal Gear Solid. And I didn't get to experience 3 just because I got frustrated with it when I was younger, and now I can. So
I'm excited that they're using the original acting.
yeah, I was not
That is
expecting
cool.
the same voices. Like
Right.
I was like, wait a minute, it's David Hayter.
Yeah, when I remember they when they announced it, they said they were just going to use the original audio tracks. But I don't know, it was kind of cool to see that it does work with the new visuals. Like it still
Yep.
sounds good,
Mhm.
and it's a little no offense to David Hayter, but no doubt he sounds much older now, 20 years on. So it would probably be as different sounding Snake if he re-recorded. So it's kind of nice that they could just use the original tracks.
Mhm.
Disappointed I didn't see my boy Young Revolver Ocelot. He's so beautiful. It's a shame I didn't get to see him, but
You will.
you know.
You will.
Yeah.
You will, yeah.
Moving on, Sea of Thieves. I didn't realize they were on season 13.
That's a lot of seasons.
That is a lot. That drops on July 25th. I'm so happy that people are still loving that game. It's way bigger than I ever would have imagined that game would be.
Yeah, one of the PlayStation's top sellers last month. Sea of Thieves.
Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember what this was.
Yeah, it's got like a Souls Light, I believe they described it.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a lot of those. Kind of hard to track.
Age of Mythology Retold. Is that like in the Age of Empires universe? The city builder type
I think
thing?
so. Or in that style of gameplay, yeah.
Right. And then, what do you think of Perfect Dark?
I thought it looked pretty cool. You hear about all this behind the scenes trouble, so it's hard to want to trust it. But yeah, I thought it looked really cool, and it looked pretty kind of far away from Perfect Dark, as I remember it. But it's been so long that you could reboot it with new people behind the helm, and you can definitely change things up. I thought it looked really cool. I'm definitely interested in it. I really like.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I really really enjoy the first two Perfect Darks. I'm down for another one.
The thing that stuck out to me on the original Perfect Dark is that when it first released, it had the potential to be just another GoldenEye, but I feel like that game lets you do different things. It wasn't just run around and clear the enemies. There was actually fun mission objectives, and I feel like this one is kind of carrying that forward. I don't know. It looks really slick. I was not expecting to like that trailer, and I did.
This looks a good way to describe it. Well, and I like that towards the end of the trailer, they looked like they were leaning pretty heavily into the alien stuff.
Yeah.
Which is cool because I in my heart, for some reason, I assumed rebooting Perfect Dark, you were going to get rid of all the wacky alien stuff. It's kind of nice to see it there and treat a little bit more weight than when you just find like an alien named Elvis in Area 51 that you did in the original.
Well, I've never gotten the chance to play a Perfect Dark game, so I'm intrigued to watch this trailer and see if it looks like something I'd enjoy.
I think so. It's being co-developed by Crystal Dynamics, so that's something
I
exciting.
do like their games.
I will say one thing, laptop gun or bust. You hear me?
Laptop gun?
Yes.
There's a laptop gun.
It's pretty great. It's a laptop that converts into a turret, and you can put it anywhere you want in the original games.
How handy.
I know. So if it's not in here, it's laptop gun or I'm not playing it. You hear me? You hear me, the initiative?
This is one of the earliest games that also had the little where you could set out like a robot thing to go through the vents.
Oh yeah, sure.
Remember that?
Yeah,
yeah. That seemed ahead of its time. Maybe I'm way off. They probably did that in like the PS2 era or something. But I thought that was really cool. There's more content coming to Diablo 4. Something called the Vessel of Hatred. They actually showed an opening cinematic. I've not finished that game, so I got plenty of Diablo 4 to see for me to get too excited about that. But again, people still are digging that game. That comes out October 8th. I did not get to watch the Fable trailer closely, but I was listening to it, and I still feel like I'm very confused by what that game is.
I did watch it, and I'm confused by what this is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just me.
Unless I'm misremembering entirely, we didn't really see any like straight up gameplay.
That's like again, I was watching it out of the corner of my eye while I was flipping chicken or whatever. But I was like, it just felt like it was all about being funny.
Well, trying to be.
Yeah.
What's funny, I think, is I don't know. Fable was a very funny series, but I don't know. A little too modern.
I don't remember Fable. I played Fable 2 a bunch. I don't remember it being like just a comedy. I remember it being quirky.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, say the comedy wasn't subtle, right? Like you could name yourself Chicken Chaser.
Right.
And then there was a fart button.
Right. There is something about being the legendary hero and everyone calls you Chicken Chaser that is funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this trailer looked like it's hard to be funny when you're trying to be funny that hard, I guess.
Yeah.
And also it just I don't know, for me there is something slightly off-putting about seeing Fable rendered realistically.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, those 3 games had very cartoony aesthetics, and this looked trying to push the boundaries. I was like, I don't know, kind of makes for a strange vibe.
I agree. One of the other surprises for me was Mixtape. I was not expecting this game, and when it started, I was not expecting to be all in on it by the end of the trailer, but as a child of the 80s, that looked like a fun game, like a slice of life teenager in the 80s kind of game. That, would the
Walkman not imply Walkman plus skateboarding not imply early 90s?
I mean, the music was 80s. Oh no, I guess there was some 90s in there too. Smashing.
There's like Smashing Pumpkins, yeah.
Yeah.
Does it seem like it would be an Alyssa game?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
From what you're saying, I'm like, this sounds like an Alyssa game.
I don't really know how the gameplay works. It looks like there's some like where you're running through the neighborhood, like Ferris Bueller style, sliding under fences or hit a trampoline to go. I don't know. But I thought this was a game Zack was going to be all about because he likes those. We're not saving the world or anything. We're just being people in real life.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you, Scott. I'm all in. This looks great.
Yeah, I thought that looked really good. And Life is Strange, double exposure.
I don't even have to watch the trailer to be excited for that because I've liked every single Life is Strange game.
Mm-hmm.
What I think, did the trailer say Max? You're playing as Max again?
Oh, that's so cool.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And they kept pronouncing the name like it was Sophia, but they were pronouncing it Sophia or something like. It was like a weird pronunciation.
Oh, I thought it was Safi.
Safi?
Yeah.
Like instead of Sophie, it's Safi?
Yeah, she looked Middle Eastern or Indian something. I don't know.
Oh, is that? I didn't. Again, that's another one I was watching out of the corner of my eye.
I can't make I'm not educated enough to make the distinction on face value.
October 29th for that one. So again,
at least not in a cartoony aesthetic of Life is Strange.
Right.
I swear I'm not racist.
Then Indiana Jones and the Great Circle got a new cinematic trailer. Although there was some gameplay in there too, but man, I thought Troy Baker nailed the Harrison Ford voice in the original trailer that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
But again, just listening to this one and watching out of the corner of my eye, dude, it sounded so much like Harrison Ford. It's ridiculous.
I feel like he loses a little bit when he's screaming or getting loud, but that seems like a hard thing to. Harrison Ford doesn't get loud a lot, so
that's true.
Yeah, but the cutscene because most of the trailer was just a cutscene of him interacting with this German soldier or whatever. It carried a lot of Wolfenstein energy to me.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm saying like
I can't give you what I don't have.
Right. It's it felt Indiana Jones, but it also felt Machine Games, and I thought that was cool. I feel like I could feel both of the styles there.
Yeah.
I mean, I like both of those, so it sounds like I would like this trailer.
The only problem is that this is getting in the way of Wolfenstein 3, but whatever.
That's true.
Well, hey, whatever gets us there.
Right. Either way, I'm killing Nazis.
Yeah, right.
And there are few greater American pastimes than killing Nazis.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I want my scalps.
I love that movie.
The movie is so infinitely rewatchable. I love that movie.
I think it's my favorite Tarantino. Anyway.
Sure.
What'd you think of Avowed?
Don't care.
I don't either. And I really wanted to.
Just don't care, man.
Yeah.
This looks like I'm not sure you could pay me to be interested in Avowed, but I'm happy for other people.
Yeah.
There was one part where you're kind of like parkouring around some traps, and I was like, that's kind of cool, but I don't want to play the rest of this game. So, it's just not for me, man.
So they had 2 more announcements to end the show, and one of them was a new Xbox Series console. So there's going to be a new Xbox Series S. There's going to be an Xbox Series X all digital
Boo.
and an Xbox Series X with a 2 terabyte, internal memory or whatever. The new Xbox Series S is going to have a full terabyte white for $350. The all digital X is going to be $449 with 1 terabyte, and the 2 terabyte one is going to be $599, but it's going to be limited quantities, which means it'll sell out just fine. It's going to launch this holiday. You can't pre-order yet, but you will be able to pre-order. I will not be pre-ordering. I am perfectly happy with my console. So,
Wait, this isn't like any real improvements, right? Just more memory.
Yeah, more internal storage.
and they take away your disk drive.
Yeah.
Right. So am I remembering this right? So it's $50 less, and you can't use any discs.
Right.
Yep.
That doesn't seem like a good trade-off,
No.
especially when such a strength of the Xbox is backwards compatibility, and you want to use those little discs lying around.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I had Crimson Skies on disc, I could pop that in and play it, but
Right.
not on a digital one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I paid like $5 for that game. So, and then lastly, they rounded the show as I kind of expected they would with the new Gears of War game, but it was not what I was expecting. I was expecting Gear 6, and they instead showed Gears of War E-Day. We don't have a release date for it, but it will be on Game Pass day one. And dude, I'm all in on this.
Hell yeah.
Dude, young
Well,
Marcus and young Dom.
Dude, yeah. On the day of the Locust invasion.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, I'm
Hell
sold
yeah.
just from what you guys are saying, because again, I love Gears of War. So
wait till you see the trailer and see the screenshots of what young Dom and young Marcus look like. They look like
are
they're
they
in the
handsome?
well, yeah. I mean, they just
You're
don't
like,
look as
wait till you see it.
because after Gears 4 and 5, Marcus is old and grizzled,
Right.
and this is like where
Mhm.
they're almost. I mean, they're still hardened soldiers, but they're a little bit more hopeful. You know what I mean? And they just look young.
Yeah.
I think this is brilliant. I think this is just an awesome move to go. I don't remember how the story of 5 ended. Like, was there?
It was a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it was
So,
Cliffhanger.
so there's got to be a Gear 6 at some point, but this was still really cool. I would
Well,
imagine that this would lead into some kind of
6.
yeah.
Yeah, this is cool because I mean there is a book about Emergence Day.
Mhm.
But much like the Halo Reach, right? It's gonna be a whole different experience when you get to play through it yourself.
Yeah.
And I just dude, I'm so stoked. At first I thought it was a Gears of War 2 remaster,
Yeah.
like a definitive edition, because Marcus looked so young, so it couldn't have been Gears 6. But
Mhm.
dude, I mean this is awesome. I'm over the moon excited. Gears of War Emergence Day, absolutely. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And Scott, we should actually play this one together for real.
Like the co-op campaign.
Co-op, or at least some multiplayer or something. This is a good way. It's Gears calling back to its roots. We should call back to our Gears roots.
I'm in. Hopefully there's 4-player co-op because I would like to include Joel in that if possible because I've been playing
No,
through.
You can play your first time with Joel. That's fine. I'll play my
No,
first time.
no, no, no.
I want to play my first time alone. You can play with Joel. It's okay.
I don't want to play the first time alone.
No, I'll play alone. You play with Joel. He's your
Ah,
Gears
it's
buddy
not
now.
the same, man.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I it's just Gears. Yeah, Gears and Dom. Saddling up again, take out some locusts. Hell yeah, man.
If nothing else, we need to get some multiplayer matches going, like with known
That's what I'm
people.
saying, yeah.
Like I want
Yeah.
get 8 people and just like team up and just dude. We've talked about this before, but that's how Zack and I really became friends.
Yeah.
Gears-
15 whatever years ago was playing Gears 2, I believe, is when we first started playing together. So anyway, that's the news. That was a lot to cover. I was kind of blown away by the Xbox stuff. There were so many new properties. There was lots of things to go back on, like iterations of things or sequels. Just very pleasantly surprised. I really thought it was a good showing.
And the stuff they had here that wasn't, Microsoft games were still really compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like Metal Gear Solid 3 or Expedition 33, I'm sure will be on other consoles. But
I can't believe how much I love that trailer.
yeah, dude.
Just,
Sounds like one we'll definitely both be playing next year.
oh,
Yeah, I'm having major FOMO right now. Curse my only getting 4 hours of sleep last night, and I slept through the Xbox showcase.
Well, you remember that title, Alyssa, when you go back and watch it, that Expedition
Yeah.
33 trailer.
Yeah, text us afterwards.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
every game I'm looking forward to from these trailers.
And let me know what you think of the South of Midnight gameplay, because I think it looks exceptional.
I think
Game of the show for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we move on, I want to remind everybody about our Patreon. You can help support the show if you'd like to over at patreon.com/thegocast. We've got bonus episodes for those at certain tiers, including our Break the Seal on The Lone Ranger from the NES and Prince of Persia Sands of Time from the PS2 Xbox era. Zack and I had a really great conversation there. And also our latest Desert Island Games episodes. I say episodes because we had one with CB and one with Alyssa. Paul Hine hosted both of them, and he did a fantastic job. They're both great listens. And coming up this month, we're going to do a trade-off episode with Kevin and I, if I can get around to playing the game. I'm supposed to play Evolution, the World of Sacred Device on Dreamcast, and Kevin's going to play Paper Mario, both of us for the first time, and we're going to discuss our reactions to that. And Kevin and I also toyed around with the idea of doing an episode just talking about going to concerts, because Kevin and I are concert buddies, and we're just different favorite shows and tips and tricks on best ways to do it. So stay tuned for that. But now let's get into the new games that we've actually been playing. All right, Zack, what's new on the horizon that we can check out?
Say now that Key 3 has passed, video games
Oh.
released again.
I love it.
Oh, no.
Starting off this week, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, the re-release with supposedly like 30 or 40 extra hours added to an already 70-hour game. That'll be coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So everything on June 14th, which is big news because it was formerly a Switch exclusive. Monster Hunter Stories, which I think this was a 3DS game originally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming to
I believe
PS4,
so.
Switch, and PC, June 14th. The Horror Tales of the Beggar horror first-person shooter coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, and PC, June 17th. Hashtag Blood is a 90s animated cartoon-style game. It looks of that era. It looks like something you'd see on Cartoon Network.
It does.
That's
why it reminded me of my childhood watching those cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah, a little more.
That was a weird way to say cartoons. Cartoons.
Coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC, June 18th. Crazy to think there are still games coming out that just aren't on PS5 or Series consoles. I guess they don't really need them, right? Because it's the same storefront. It's just funny to see. You can live your 1970s Scottish oil rig fantasy that we've all had. Coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC, June 18th with Still Wakes the Deep. You can build your own pirate empire and Republic of Pirates, coming to PC, June 19th. You can live your life as a teen girl bonding with her horsey friend with Windstorm, a Start of a Great Friendship Remastered.
Remastered?
Yeah, it's not enough
Remastered.
that this was on PS4. They needed a remaster for PS5. Coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC, June 20th. Dice Folk, a dice-based collecting monster game, coming to Switch, June 20th. Darkstar 1, I thought this was fascinating because this is like a first-person space combat game. It was released on PC like 15 years ago, and it's just randomly getting a Switch version on June 20th. And then Rusted Moss, a 2D action game with a huge emphasis on grappling hook, coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and Switch, June 20th. Scott, are there any games on this list you're going to be playing?
I don't know if I'm going to play them, but I'm definitely interested. The backlog is rough, man.
Sure, astronomical.
They could not release any games for the next 3 years and I'd be fine.
Sure.
Like, legitimately. There's a bunch. Dice Folk, I love rolling dice, you know that?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought of you when I saw that for sure.
Yeah, that one looks really
well.
great. Still Wakes the Deep. I know you were kind of joking about fulfilling your fantasy of this random thing, but there's something about the claustrophobic nature of that gives me Alien and BioShock vibes at the same time.
Yeah, definitely.
That really works. And Rusted Moss also. It looks old school, but with fresh sensibilities. So yeah, there's 3 on there that stick out for me.
What about you, Alyssa?
Well, I'm definitely intrigued by SMT5 Vengeance because I enjoyed 4, even though it was brutally difficult. But I don't know if I want to put in, 100, 110 hours into this game. Right. So I'm intrigued by it, but I will play Still Wakes the Deep because I do. I gotta go back to Scotland for a little bit in my mind. I know I'm in Korea a lot, but I'm missing Scotland. And as soon as I heard the voices, I'm like, oh, I need it. And plus, it's horror, underwater.
This is because was it the Outsider?
Outlander.
Outlander.
Yeah.
Outlander. That's your Scottish love, right? I doubt there's probably gonna be less. There's probably gonna be less spanking in this one, right?
I mean there's not a ton of that in actual Outlander either, but just hearing the accents was.
There is more than none.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just the horror aspect with the Scottish accents and setting. Yeah.
Sure. I'm with you somewhat, Scott. I think Rusted Moss looks pretty cool. Kind of like an interesting aesthetic, to it. But I probably won't get to it because I'm going to definitely be too busy playing Still Wakes Deep. I think that game looks great. I actually, jokes aside, I think these 1970s Scottish oil rig setting sounds so cool. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
And you're right. It does kind of give alien vibes, that industrial claustrophobia, which is cool. And I'm sure they've dug too deep in the ocean and unleashed something from the looks of it. That's
I'm here for it.
Yep.
All in. So I guess it's a hat trick, guys. 3 for 3. We are all super interested in Still Wakes Deep, and it's included on Game Pass, right?
It is. I already have it pre-installed on my Xbox.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. When was the release on that one?
June 18th.
Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize it was Game Pass. Man, I just got really excited.
So it makes it an easier sell, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm all in on that.
All right. Well, Zach, I want to talk to you about Cowboy 3030, which I saw this. I got a press release for this trailer, and I think I immediately texted you the trailer and said, "Hey, you want to cover this game?" I think there's
I sacrificed and decided I would.
You know how you can't hear tone over text? I could hear Zach's tone with his "hell yeah" when he texted back.
Yeah.
So you're playing this on your brand new Steam Deck,
absolutely,
which is awesome that you finally get to take part in some of these games that you've been pining over.
Right, because apparently these indie westerns just don't sell well enough to come to a console.
Yeah, I've noticed all the Western games are on Steam Deck or Steam in general.
So I guess there's just not an audience for them. But I'll tell you, there's one hungry audience member who hadn't been able to play them, but now I can.
So tell me about this, because this looks like 3D bullet hell.
Boom,
in cowboy form. Yeah,
it's 3D. It is absolutely 3D bullet hell with some cowboy hats.
So it's Western Returnal.
Yeah, kinda. Little less presentation value.
Yeah. Sure.
No bottomless budget provided by Sony.
Right.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly right. It is it's a 3D bullet hell roguelike. It's you're just you're going from arena to arena.
Roguelike.
Yeah, it definitely has some roguelike elements. Or
what's a roguelike?
You
mean a
run-based randomizer. Thank you. I appreciate you correcting me. I like this. Now I know what it feels like, and I love it. Yes, so it is a 3D run-based randomizer.
There you go.
And it's third person behind the back, so it's a full 3D game. And I think the bullet hell in 3D is cool. Like it's just a great feeling. So you're dodging your enemy attacks, and you're shooting back, and you're getting level ups, and it has kind of when you see the skill chart, I guess, because it's more than just a skill tree. It looks kind of pretty intimidating. There's a lot going on, but it's interesting in two ways. One, because it's random every run, so you can't guarantee which skills you're going to get. But two, you kind of have to build. It's like think of it as like a 16 by 16 grid, right? But you kind of have to draw your way one skill point at a time towards the edges to get the big power ups.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
So it kind of there's some strategy in your skill tree making that is interesting. And that's the general flow. It's that's kind of what it is right now. And there's several different characters, and they have different skills and guns. One guy's got a shotgun, one person's got a revolver. So it's the weapons are character dependent, and they each have their own little special skills, which I assume this is all standard roguelike stuff, right?
Right.
Or I'm sorry, run-based randomizer stuff. Apologies. Sorry.
Really right.
I gotta get my taser for myself or something. But it's a lot of fun. It's got the Western twang to the soundtrack, and I don't know why, but it is fun to me when you enter an arena. You see everybody like somersault out of bushes, like that's how the enemies spawn, as though they're like lying in wait for you.
Well, I mean, that's Western.
Yeah, it's a great deal of fun there, and then you can rescue. There'll be different civilians you can rescue, and they might give you a little perk or something, and then. A lot of the arenas have loot boxes to get equipment, basic stuff. There is this is early access, right? So it's not feature complete. So it is a little, I guess, feels a little simple right now, little bare bones.
Oh, okay.
But that's
That's to be
early
expected.
access.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you're early access without the success behind you of a Hades,
Right.
you actually release your game and then build it over time. But it has this one cool thing. Where when you get to, in between arenas, right, you get your little like rest areas where you can, sometimes they'll have a healing pod or it'll have a little thing where you can graft a shape onto your skill graph to make those skills will be better. Like they'll upgrade or whatever. But there's also like this little scarecrow in there and he'll ask you questions about your run. And the scarecrow will make a statement like saying like, you've rescued 3 civilians this run. And you have to decide whether it's true or false, and whether or not you're right or wrong, you'll get a perk.
Oh,
Dude, that's actually really cool.
It is.
Yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun, and that was something where I was like, man, I hope they kind of like lean more into some of these aspects because that's such a clever little idea.
It is, because I feel like games that do that, like as an example, Paper Mario: 1,000 Year Door does that, where like you come across a character that quizzes you on things that have happened in the story, and it's always like. Kind of just silly and you barely remember it. It doesn't really matter, right. But like you can actually have a better run if you remember like the exact. Oh, that's really cool.
Well, yeah. What I really like about it is like roguelikes they're pretty great for your brain can almost turn off because you're so focused on surviving each wave or Balacho, right? You're focused on each hand or whatever. So it's pretty easy to not pay attention to all the little things you're doing along the way.
Yeah,
but Cowboy 3030 is ensuring that you do.
I like that a lot. That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was super clever. The only thing I find myself yearning for is like a story that binds this, which I don't know. Story goes a long way for me in setting the stage.
Right.
Why are these future cowboys shooting these people?
Yeah.
Or what is the excuse for this? Or what goal am I working? I need a goal to work towards. How about that? That makes sense.
What exactly is my motivation here?
Yes, and I understand it's probably, a throwback arcade style fun. It's just, give me a...
Well, they can't all be Hades. They can't all be Children of Morta.
No, nor do I expect it to be.
Right.
Just a little something.
So you're recommending this one?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't fault you if you want to wait for the full release, but I was having a blast with it. I want to continue to play more. And I guess, I don't know. I guess I like run-based randomizers now. I don't know.
Yes.
Remember that was not the case a few years ago.
I know.
Yeah.
I was convinced Remember when I was convinced that Children of Morta was going to be the one that was going to bring you in?
Yeah. And you were on the right path, right? Because it was so story focused. It was just it was Hades that really broke me.
Yeah.
And then but like now I'm playing like this Rogue Prince of Persia, Balatro I can't put down. Like I'm playing a lot of these run-based randomizers.
I love it, man. Dude, I love it.
There is something relaxing about them that I could just never see before. But if you want to make 100 Cowboy one of these, I'll play them all.
If I could just get you to try Ember Knights, that would be
right.
Ember Knights is so good.
Someone just got to get a cowboy hat on somebody. I'm there.
Ember Cowboys.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I think it looks great.
By the way, that one came from developer Soy Boy Games, who also published it and was provided.
Insane name.
Soy Boy Games.
Boy.
Yeah,
and I would love because it's a husband-wife team. Which one do you think is the Soy Boy?
I don't know.
No.
You don't make assumptions, right?
I can't. I'm not gonna make assumptions. I'm gonna get canceled.
No, but it's I think it's adorable that a husband and wife is.
Yeah.
That's
cool. And it was provided to us by Stride PR, so shout out to them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to be friends with Soy Boy Games and big Cowboy Games. Alyssa, you've been playing Autopsy Simulator. I assume this is scary? Sounds scary.
To me, it's not very scary.
Okay, I lied. It doesn't sound scary.
I'll just admit I'm very mixed on this game so far.
Okay, well, can I ask you straight up?
Mhm.
Do they shy away from anything, or is it full of like the nudity and gore you would expect from an autopsy simulator?
Okay, so full nudity, but you can turn a nudity filter on, but it's kind of ridiculous, honestly. I turned it on just to see what it would look like, and it's just, the gray and black and white pixelated squares that blink at you.
Yeah.
Just
Sure,
huge circles over all the areas with that. So I'm just like, I'd rather...
It's a Girls Gone Wild commercial?
Yeah. Or with the guys. It's especially... I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'd rather just see the parts.
Well, the idea of someone who's okay taking lungs out of human beings, but is afraid of a female nipple...
I think this is
seems
for
weird.
Streamers. I think that's why they included it.
Well, that's even funnier to me. That Twitch is like, sure, the internal organs, you could plop those around, but we're definitely not letting you show a penis.
Are some of the circles larger than others?
I've only seen one so far.
Okay.
Is it like Borat, where the black bar is down to his ankle?
Dude, that was so
no. Unfortunately, not. No.
Yeah, sorry, we're going off the reservation.
It's okay.
Apologies.
But speaking about the internal stuff, it looks similar to real life. You don't see any fluids or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
You can tell it's video gamey, but
say that the bodies are dry, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, inside.
Yeah.
And it's not really a simulator, to be honest.
Okay. How is it? Just because it doesn't require you to actually like weigh body parts, or what?
Well, right now it's just a very linear story mode campaign.
Okay.
They are implementing a sandbox mode later where you can just do autopsies, but that's not part of the game right now. In the story, you're following would he be called a mortician?
A medical examiner?
Medical examiner,
Right.
Jack. He's lost his wife. He goes to work. He's dealing with depression. And he's doing these autopsies and recording them for a medical university so the students can watch, and they're not there with him, but they can watch him while he's doing it. And then, stuff's happening. There's noises, flickering lights, stuff like that going on. So you don't know if something supernatural's going on or if it's part of Jack's mental state. But mostly, it's very, very linear, and it really holds your hand the entire time. You cannot mess up.
Okay. I'm actually surprised this is so story-driven, because when I hear simulator in a title, I correlate that with like Lawnmower Simulator or, PC Builder Simulator, things like that, where it's actually taking something for real and focusing on making that as realistic as possible. This focuses more on story, it sounds like.
It does.
Which, that actually intrigues me a little bit more. Because as much as I like those simulator games, I love the lawns, so that one was the natural for me. I don't know how I feel about actually doing autopsies, except for like solving, finding out how somebody died for a story reason, which it sounds like this game does.
I don't really know if they tie into the story yet because I'm not finished with it. The creepy stuff happens while you're doing autopsies, like away from the bodies, not with the body so far. So you'll get interrupted while you're doing an autopsy by the power going out and you gotta go check the fuses, or you'll hear a noise and you'll go investigate it and there's nothing there. That's really where the horror comes in. There have been a couple of jump scares that felt kind of cheap, honestly.
See, that's why because in the trailer it felt like they were kind of playing up that potential supernatural angle. That's why I thought it was a scary horror game.
Well, so far it's not. But I'm only about 2 hours in, which I think this is a 4 to 6 hour game, so potentially halfway through.
Okay.
You mentioned over text that you were having some motion issues with this one, which surprises me because I wouldn't have expected a lot of motion from a game like this.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it either. But yeah, it does give me motion sickness. And since I have a specific phobia, it makes it worse when I get motion sickness. The only thing that has really helped with it is I turned motion blur off, and one thing I don't like about this game is there's not options to change your field of view, the camera sensitivity, which are integral if you do deal with motion sickness to have those options. All you can do is turn motion blur off and change your mouse sensitivity, which I did lower the mouse sensitivity because even at 50%, which is the default, it was flying, like, the cursor would fly all over the place, and that would make me extra nauseous. Turned down to 35 and did that. It was running smoothly at 50. Turned it down 35, I'm dealing with screen tearing all the time now. But I have to have it at 35. It still makes me feel bad, but it's not immediately making me feel bad like it was at the default setting. I can play it for about 30, 45 minutes before it starts kicking in. But even then, I have to suffer a little bit because there's not... the autosaves are very sparse, and you cannot manually save in this game. So I am having to torture myself a little bit to play this.
Oh, no. Not because of the quality of the game, but because of how it affects you personally?
Yeah, the motion sickness.
Okay. So if you have motion sickness issues that,
I would say stay away from this game currently unless they patch in some accessibility options. And I feel like I've gotten a little bit spoiled with that lately with a lot of games because they just have that preset already where you can check it off if you deal with motion sickness, and it kind of recalibrates things. It was just a little frustrating to see that there's not at least options to manage the field of view or the camera sensitivity, which would help more. And plus, turning down mouse sensitivity did help, but now I'm dealing with screen tearing. So it's like, you either get a smooth running game, but deal with nausea, or have screen tearing and have your nausea reduced.
Right.
So
outside of that, do you recommend people check this one out?
It depends on what you want. If you want an actual autopsy simulator, I'd say hold off until they implement that into the game. Because they say they are working on that separate mode, and it will be added in at a later date. If that's what you want, I would say wait to buy it until they've added that, because all you get is the linear story mode right now.
Is this a full release game? This isn't early access?
It's full release, yes. You
would think the sandbox mode would be kind of a no-brainer thing to have at launch, right?
Yeah, you would think. But it's not there. The dev said it will be added in later if the game does well. Game does well. So,
That's interesting.
So if you want a linear horror, well, I struggle to call it a horror game because it hasn't been very scary yet. It may amp up the scares. But if you want a more story-driven game that's linear, that's about 4 to 6 hours long, sure, go ahead and get it if it sounds interesting to you. But if you're wanting more of the autopsy simulator aspect, I would say just wait and see if they implement it into the game.
Because it seems like they're holding the actual autopsy simulator mode hostage.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
So it's hard to recommend unless you want to play just a linear experience at the moment.
I mean, I'm genuinely intrigued by that aspect of it more than just the simulation part of it. So,
I mean, I like that too. Like, I like the story mode. It's just, I wish it didn't make me feel bad.
Right.
And it's not because of gore or anything. It's because of the camera movements and stuff.
So again, that is Autopsy Simulator on PC from Woodland Games, published by Team 17 and provided to us by Honest PR. Thanks for checking that out, Alyssa.
And Scott, you're playing Bang. Is it Bang? Average
Bang.
Football? Okay.
Yes.
Making sure it wasn't pronounced Bong.
Some bang average football, mate.
I watched the trailer for this, and it is not American football. It is very much,
Football.
Yeah. Football in other countries.
Yes.
Are you living out your Ted Lasso fantasies with this game? And also, the graphics just are adorable, in my opinion. I like the pixelated art.
Yeah, well, I got to give a shout out first off to the developer. I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. It looks like Ruairi DX.
Ruairi?
Ruairi DX.
If we butchered that, we're sorry.
I apologize, sir or ma'am. But he actually reached out to me and sent me a code for his game and asked if I would review it on the site and on the podcast. And I'm playing it on my Steam Deck. To my knowledge, that is the only place it is right now.
Okay.
And right off the bat, this game reminded me. Do you remember man, years ago, I reviewed a game on Switch called Golf Story, where it was
I've heard of Golf Story, yes.
it was like an RPG where you played as a golfer, and you had little,
Yeah.
story conversations, and then you'd play, a 3-swing golf game. This game reminds me of that, just with much, a little bit more detail in the graphics, especially on the, on the conversation piece, because, the story starts out that you are a brand new footballer that has been recruited by this team, and you actually pick the name of the city. It's all
Okay.
there's preset ones. You're not actually typing it in. You can put your real name, and just like an RPG. You pick the color of your home jersey and your away jerseys, and you show up to meet your manager, and they're like, "Well, you were supposed to be here a week ago. What are you talking about? I just got the invitation." And well, there was a mix-up, and our match is about to start in about 15 minutes, so we're gonna have you play right now. Oh, by the way, do you want to manage the team? So, like, you're a young kid that has found a professional team, and you're asked to not only play but also manage the team. And then you just jump right into a match. And the football matches, as you saw in the trailer, are just over the top, like top to bottom or bottom to top to get to your goal. This might be an obscure reference to you guys, but there was a game I played on the original Atari 2600 called Pele's Soccer. This reminds me of that, but obviously much more detailed. Very simple. You run around with the ball, you pass it to your other players, you can slide tackle, and you just try to defend your own goal. And first match I had a draw. Second match I won. Third match I lost. And I'm just in the middle of playing matches, which, by the way, the game calls them games, which is interesting to me because, they don't call it the pitch. They don't call it, matches. They call it the field, and they call it games. So it's almost like it's Americanized, I guess. I don't know if that's intentional. I was expecting, because you're actually managing a football team too.
Yeah.
There's and I don't know anything about football in terms of management. I've played a little FIFA here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about placement. I know forwards and I know fullbacks and that kind of thing.
We just have knowledge from Ted Lasso.
Yeah, pretty much. Ted Lasso and the Big Green from Disney back in the 90s, if you guys remember that movie. So my soccer knowledge is very limited, but it's a fun little game. I'm not terribly far in it, but I think it's very charming. I think the writing with the RPG part of it is very snappy and put a smile on my face. I really liked it. I think it's well written. I think the soccer is pretty fun. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong because I didn't want to play 4 matches in a row, which again, matches are seriously like 4 minutes.
So not bad.
A soccer match is like 90 minutes unless there's penalties, and then it's like a big secret as to how much time is left because the referees decide. But I want to get back to the story and see how that's going. So I'm not sure if I have to play through an entire season before I get back to the story. But I hope that's not the case. I'm hoping that you can kind of go back and do some more management kind of things, because I would like to learn how to manage, but I feel my options are limited right now. I can basically pick where my particular player is set on the field, like as a striker or as a defender or as a goalie. I can even just play as goalie the whole game if I want to. But even though wherever I pick, I am everywhere on the field. You know what I mean? We're on offense, I'm on offense. We're on defense, I'm on defense, which is not how soccer is played. But so I'm looking forward to actually keep going with this one. I've been told the developer told me it's about 6 to 8 hours, which I think is nice for a what's ostensibly an RPG with some sports mechanics. You could potentially have a much longer game. So I'm looking forward to taking a deeper dive on this one and seeing if I can finish it. So, and shout out to him for hooking me up. It feels very much like a passion project. He clearly loves the game, and he loves storytelling, and I think there's a lot of charm. And if you like RPGs and you like soccer or football, this one is worth checking out. Again, it's bang average football. I guess the only real criticism I could give is maybe a better title. I think that unless
Does
is that a European
bang
thing?
Average come into play in the game in any way, or
Not yet, but I don't know if that is a European thing that I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Maybe
either.
it's a common term.
You guys just aren't saying it right. It's bang average. You gotta,
Okay.
Bang average football.
Yeah, it's a bit bang average. It's kind of a bang average sandwich, ain't it?
Is that what
You
it
know?
is? It sounds much cooler when you say it with a proper accent.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Bang average football. Again, I'm playing it on Steam Deck. All right, we're going to move on. I got 2 more reviews for you. I sat down with Rel and with Mark Szymanski. They each reviewed a couple games for us. I'm going to play this for you right now. Mark Szymanski, long time no see, man. How you doing?
It's been a few weeks, Scott. Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I just want to say before we even get into your review, how much I appreciate you as a reviewer, man. You are hitting the Discord channel all the time looking for something that you can play, and I know it's frustrating putting in requests for stuff, and I can't get a hold of review copies as quickly as I did when you first started. But you also like turn these reviews around so quickly, and you're very well versed on the podcast, and you're a great writer. So thank you for helping out the Gaming Outsider, man. I do appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's actually very much my pleasure. I appreciate the
Awesome.
opportunity.
Well, you're here to talk to us about a game called Skeler Boy.
Mm-hmm.
This comes from developer Maniac Boy Studios and is published by Ratalaika Games and was provided to us by PR Hound out in the UK, actually. So shout out to those guys for hooking you up with a copy. I gotta say, I've watched this trailer a couple times. I do not understand what this game is. It looks like a narrative point-and-click adventure game, but instead of pointing and clicking, you're moving in a two-dimensional field. Can you help me out, because I feel like I don't understand.
You're pretty close on the second one.
Okay.
At least as far as I've made it. I'll be honest, the first hour or 2 that I've played has been a little, left me desiring a little more out of a game.
Okay.
But your 2D adventure with some point and click on it, that sounds pretty close to what it is. You're not pointing and clicking, though. You actually have to walk up to the object, click to interact with it.
The old Telltale game.
Yeah. So,
but it's more animated, more sprite-based.
Yes, very
Right,
much 8-bit, nostalgia vibes all over it, and that's one of the reasons why I selected it, because it looked like it had a creepy storyline, had the 8-bit look going on it, and I thought, hey, this looks like a pretty fun game, maybe I'll give it a try.
So what's the story?
But it's a little dry. I am finding myself doing a lot of walking, a lot of clicking on things just to see what happens, and it's not a lot happening. So I walk up to like trash bins that I don't know are trash bins, and he says, "This is just trash." I'm like, okay, thanks. Why don't? And so there's supposed to be somebody that's there to help, but he's not helping. He's just saying, "Go find the mansion. It's in the forest." Okay, where's the forest? Nobody tells me where the forest is.
Well, that's classic point-and-click adventure stuff. That's actually a cool thing in that world. Is that people like that, where you're just kind of clicking on things and seeing what it says and trying to piece together. So, yeah.
And I did have a couple of aha moments. So
right.
As I started, it's like, oh, the boat. I know where the boat is. So I went and found the boat, and I took the boat to the other across the river, and I found what they told me to look for, and I brought it back, and I'm actually making progress. This is getting better. And then I just started fumbling around. I wasn't sure which direction anything was. So as I keep going, I'm hoping that when I do the written review after I finish the game, hopefully I will have a little bit brighter of an outlook on it.
Okay.
But the first couple hours is a lot of trial and error, and after an hour or 2 of trial and erroring for me, I start like, okay, I'm going to put this down and go do something else.
Gotcha. Well, I will say that traditionally, Ratalaika games are incredibly short.
Okay.
Almost every Ratalaika game I've ever reviewed is they're great fodder for quick achievements if you're an achievement or trophy hunter. So I can't speak to this one because I haven't played it, but I would expect that you're going to get a pretty quick game. I mean, some of these games I finished in 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah, this one's bigger than that.
Yeah. So what's the story in Skeler Boy?
All right, so you are Skeler Boy. I'm not really sure what that word means. The game is not in English. Well, it is. It was not made by English-speaking people. It was made by Spanish-speaking people, and I'm guessing that they kind of had a lower budget because the translation is totally Google Translate.
Right.
They didn't have a professional doing this. It is broken English on the translation, incorrectly translated in some points where the words don't line up in the correct way. So whoever did it either doesn't know English or it was a robot AI helper, thing like that. But so you are the Skeler Boy. Your girlfriend has disappeared, and you need to find her in this crazy, scary, dark, bloody-looking, in places area.
Okay.
They don't give you much more than that to start with, so you don't know who your enemies are. You don't know who to look out for. You're told you have this helper character, and you reach out to them with the codec, kind of like Metal Gear Solid. So that one kind of made me like, ooh, this is kind of fun. I like Metal Gear Solid. So so you turn on your codec and you put in their frequency and you call them up, and then their picture pops up and they start talking to you.
Okay. Is it voice acted or is it all just text?
It is voice acted in Spanish. The text is in English.
Oh, that's actually kind of cool. For someone that's trying to learn Spanish, that sounds like one it would help me out a little bit.
Yes,
So
perhaps.
all right. So go ahead.
So you're walking around the town. You're walking into houses. Some houses are locked. Some of them aren't, and you can just walk in. It's kind of weird. Doors are locked, so you have to find the key in another room or in another building in some cases.
Right.
Bring the key back so you can lock the door and make the progress in that section. So it is, like I said earlier, a lot of fumbling around looking for an object so you can make progress towards your goal.
Yeah, it's a little point-and-click adventure, a little Resident Evil puzzly type stuff.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right. Are you recommending this one, or can you really say, since you haven't finished it yet?
If the rest of the game is like this, probably not. But
Okay.
there's potential. It is a little creepy. They have put some effort into making the game. Like, you're walking around some houses and there's blood puddles because there has been violence that has occurred. It's supposed to creep you out. Like, is my girlfriend okay? Is she dead? Is she alive? And
Right.
when you step on the blood puddles, and this is what I wasn't expecting because it's an 8-bit looking game, it squishes, and you can hear the squishy noises of your feet stepping in like
Nice.
blood on carpet or something like that. And I said, this is actually kind of a creepy, nice touch. So they've put effort into it. And maybe it's just not a game that's clicking with me, but I think other people would like it. And I will know much more about it when I make it to the end.
Well, I look forward to reading your written review after you finish it, man. It sounds interesting. I hope that it pays off for you.
Me too. I was excited about this one.
Very cool, man. Well, Mark, thanks so much for stopping by. As always, it is a pleasure, and we will check with you next time, all right?
Right on.
Well, hello, Rel. How you been, man?
Been pretty good. By the time you're listening to this, I will be in Japan.
That's awesome. And you're fluent, right? So you can
Yeah.
actually converse with everybody. You don't have to pretend like someone like me does.
I am the designated translator for my entire family. They have said that they are not going anywhere without me. So,
That's awesome. You're going with not just you and your wife, you're going with the full family, or
yep. So it's kind of half a vacation because I got to be both the tour guide, the translator, and the kid wrangler a little bit.
kid wrangler.
At least mine.
Okay. Well, at least it's just yours.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
I'm a little jealous, man, because I would love to go visit Japan, even though I would be completely lost. I have no idea where to start, but at least you can speak the language. I can't at all. I can say hello, and that's about it. But I want to talk to you about the game that you've been reviewing for us. This is on PC. It's a game called Underspace. It comes from the developer Pasta Space Interactive. It is published by Camland Games and was provided to us by Evolve PR. Now, before we started recording, you told me that this game is, I don't know, a spiritual successor to another game that I'm not familiar with. Can you tell everybody what that game is?
So that game would be Freelancer, which I do want to mention is apparently considered abandonware, which means it is free to download and
All
just
right.
have, I guess. I mean, it's a game from 2003, so kind of makes sense that it's not readily available. Like, probably you can get it on GOG, I would imagine, but also I very quickly found it on abandonware sites. So if you want to get an idea of what you're into or in for, it's a good time. It's a really good time. I spent so many hours in that game as a kid, and the basic premise behind it is you are a space pilot, and I use that very generic term because, I mean, it doesn't really matter. You are given a starship and free roaming of the galaxy. If you want to take on missions from various folks or various factions, you can do that. If you want to go mine asteroids, you can do that. if you want to just trade commodities by going from one station, picking up something at a low price, and then going to another one, selling it at a high price, you can do that. Can follow the main story, or just do what I did when I was testing out Underspace, and just fly. Just go as far as you can just to see what's out there, because Freelancer was made back before the whole algorithmic based game world started out with No Man's Sky, right?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of taken on by a whole lot of other games. I mean, Minecraft did it first, obviously, the procedurally generated world. No Man's Sky followed that up with it like an entire universe. Underspace and Freelancer by extension advertises itself as a completely handcrafted universe.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of the systems that you travel to and visit have been like actually designed by a human being as opposed to procedurally generated by an algorithm.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is pretty cool. And I mean, honestly, the way that I could best describe Underspace and Freelancer for somebody who's never heard of them before is like No Man's Sky, but with an actual story and with like slightly tighter gameplay.
All right. And I just want to ask you very quick before we go on, because No Man's Sky was a different game when it launched versus what it is now.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't played it since they've done all the updates and all this kind of thing. So is that still a fair comparison after everything that's changed?
Well, in terms of like the free roaming, yes, because like in Underspace, you can go anywhere you want. You can follow the shipping lanes and just go from gate to gate, which is what I was doing because I just wanted to see like, okay, how far can I get? You can also just decide, okay, I'm not going to go into the shipping lanes. There's an interesting looking thing out in that nebula. I'm going to point my ship at that thing and go fly out there. And you can do that.
So it's like the Zelda thing, like, oh, I
yeah.
can see that, I can go there.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Now, the only thing is, it's not a survival game. It's not... The big difference between that and No Man's Sky is that in No Man's Sky, you can go down to planets and you can wander around, gather resources. In Underspace, you are exclusively either in your ship or on a station.
Okay.
And you can, chat up with various NPCs on that station, pick up side quests, do jobs for them, trade commodities, upgrade your ship, buy new ships, customize your ship, do things like that. But the majority of the gameplay is going to be spent out in space, deciding whether you're, going to be doing any of a number of different personal objectives, like mining or trading or just hunting down eldritch horror bosses, which are out there.
I saw a boss in the trailer that was like just nothing but eyes.
Yeah. One of the things that I distinctly remember from Freelancer back in the early 2000s is there were so many different systems. There were like hundreds, and they, again, were all done before procedurally generated stuff came around. And I remember going, like, I beat the game, and then I decided, I'm just going to go explore because I can. I want to see what I can find. What's the strongest, ship equipment I can get. And I went to a system, and there was a nebula that had, like, almost a cat's eye shape void in the center of it. And it was also just completely empty of any factions or life or anything resembling civilization, and just being there was intensely creepy. Now, Underspace has its own version of that, because early on in the story missions, I'm not even sure if that is part of the story mission or if I just stumbled across it by accident. You get a signal from someone, and you go into Nebula, and there is a cosmic storm. And that involves humongous eldritch horror tentacles in the background, just only appearing during flashes of lightning, like, and then you just see tentacles just just out in space and huge and just filling up the screen.
All right.
And so the objective is you find the center of the storm and effectively shoot it, and that will, calm the weather out there in space. But that also created a gate that took me to, let's just call it a place.
Okay.
It was like, imagine, have you ever seen Spaceballs?
Yeah, I should just literally watch that 2 days ago. No lie.
Okay, so for
They
people
went
who
plaid?
haven't, yes, it went plaid. Here's the thing: imagine like just box that kind of a texture to space. I want to say the sky, but it's just space. But it doesn't move. Like you move forward, and everything else just kind of stays in place. And you can like tilt your ship and the world tilts, but otherwise it just stays in place. And it's just deeply unsettling to
And
be there.
disorienting, it sounds like.
Yeah, because you have no concept of like, am I moving? Am I going forward? Am I
Right.
making progress? Where am I here?
Wow. That
Yeah.
sounds fascinating, actually.
Yeah, and it was the kind of like just unnerving presence of I am in somewhere that no one else has ever been, and I should not be here.
I want to make sure we're painting this picture for people that aren't familiar with the game that this is based on. What was it called again?
Freelancer.
Freelancer, because I have never heard of this game. But this is like a third-person space combat / exploration game.
There is dogfighting. There is just like in Underspace, you can also like become a pirate and just attack other ships and
Mhm.
loot their stuff and then sell it. You can ally yourself with pirate factions. It's a game that I recommend to pretty much everybody who is sick of games that either A, hold your hand, or B, put you on a path and expect you to follow that path. Both of these games are very much, here's the universe. Do whatever the heck you want.
That sounds really intriguing, actually. I feel like that's something that's kind of sorely missed in this genre. I know No Man's Sky's been trying to do that. They underpromised, or they overpromised and underdelivered, and then they kind of corrected it. But this looks really interesting, especially throwing in like you said, the Eldritch type stuff.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. Are you? I know this game is still early access. It's very early on, but it sounds like you're enamored with it. Do you recommend people check it out?
I do, definitely, because there is a free demo, so you may as well go off and give it a look-see. The only knocks against it is, well, a couple of things. Number one, they promised controller support. There is currently 0 controller support. I tried it. Doesn't work. You have to do mouse and keyboard, and the way that it's set up is kind of requiring mouse and keyboard, but I'm sure that can be kind of finagled once they actually do get controllers working.
So probably that means I can't play it on my Steam Deck.
Likely not. Well, unless you map the sticks to like, WASD.
Right.
The other major downside, which may or may not be a downside, it kind of depends on your point of view. There's 0 fast travel in this game. So you can fly from one end of the galaxy to the other, but then you also have to take the long way back. And that wouldn't be as much of a problem, but, because it's space, everything is very spread out.
Mhm.
And you do have, like, impulse engines where you can go faster than your typical max speed. And then you have,
Right.
I can't remember what it's called. It's like arc engines or something. I forget it. Or runic engine. I don't know. Where you can go like 5 times impulse engine speed. So if you want to like traverse the wilds, you can do that. But as long as you're, going along the shipping lanes, you're kind of limited in how fast you can go.
Okay.
And so if you're doing trading and whatnot, and you want to get back to where you were, or if you take a break from the main story, go off to the other side of the galaxy, you have to manually come back. So it was a deliberate design decision. They specifically said on their Steam page that there was no fast travel. So it's what they envision for the game. Whether or not that is a negative for you is up to your personal preference.
Yeah, it depends on how realistic you want your space simulator to be, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that game again is called Underspace. It is a PC only game, again, early access. It sounds really interesting, and the trailer. I mean, when I first see a third person space shooter game, I think Star Fox, but this is clearly a lot more freedom than Star Fox, which is like very on the rails.
Oh yeah.
So and you get a lot more freedom to go and do what you want, but there's also a main story, and I don't know. I was really kind of enamored by the video, and that's coming from a person that hasn't played, the game that was I'm gonna say borrowing from, because I don't know how does the development work? Like, this is original team or
Yeah, it looks like an original team that's just trying to create a spiritual successor.
Okay.
One other downside I will note about the game in its current state, they have a little bit of voice acting, but they also have a lot of, just text-only lines where it's very clear that they are going to put in voice acting once they get enough money to actually hire somebody to do that.
Oh, hey, I'm available, guys. Just saying. If you need a voice for your video game, let me know. I'd love to do it.
Well, there you go. They got one person who's willing to volunteer their time.
Absolutely. Well, Rel, as always, man, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for checking out this game for us over here. I really do appreciate it, and look forward to hearing some written thoughts as well.
Yeah, I will have those to you shortly. And as I said, I was about to say, I'm just going to go get on a jet plane, except by the time you're listening to this, I will be out of the country.
Awesome. Where can everybody check you out, by the way?
I am over at youtube.com/RelPlays. That's RELLE Plays.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much. We'll catch you next time, all right?
All right, later.
Thanks, fellas. I appreciate it. Moving on, got some quick housekeeping. Our Facebook group I mentioned above, facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We've got 4 new members over there, so I want to say a shout out to Michael Weinrich, Axel Walker, Colin Coyne, and Hikari Wolf. Welcome to the community, and thanks so much for checking out. I hope you got a chance to listen to the episode. Also, our Discord server, like I mentioned, there's a link in the show notes. We've got new members over there as well. Someone by the name of Blessed, someone simply by the name 733419, and also Midwest Terror, and lastly, Vampire Lowell. Welcome to the Discord. Hope you're enjoying the community. Also, do us a favor, if you can, drop us a review wherever you listen to the podcast, especially Apple Podcast. I've been told that helps us get the word out there about what we're doing, and we'd love to get into the ears of more listeners. And lastly, our website, thegamingoutsider.com. That's where you can find all of our episodes if you don't want to use one of the podcast hosting services, or if you'd like to read our written content. And as an example, we've got Alyssa's reviews of Cyber Manhunt 2 New World, Indica, and also Still Joking. And also Sean Coates' review of Stuffed is available for you to read. He really liked that game as well. Again, thegamingoutsider.com. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. For this week's From the Outside In topic, we wanted to talk about the future of gaming journalism. I say we. What I really mean is me. I wanted to have this conversation, and I selfishly said, guys, this is what we're going to talk about. Because I actually want to do this last week, but the topic with the interview we had last week lined up perfectly, so I pushed it back. But a couple weeks ago, IGN purchased 4 major outlets to consolidate within themselves. That included Eurogamer, GamesIndustry.biz, Rock Paper Shotgun, and VG 24/7. And then that also takes into account Outside Xbox, Digital Foundry, Nintendo Life, Push Square, Pure Xbox, and Time Extension. These are names that I recognize, and I actually click on articles from these sites regularly.
Well, they don't fully own those guys, right? They just own like shares in those companies.
Correct. Yeah. Just shares in those companies. But this is a massive consolidation in a way that I wasn't expecting, not in the games industry itself, but in the journalism side. And as usually happens, many people have started getting laid off, and some of them have been big names in the industry over the years. Brendan Sinclair, guy I used to listen to his podcast all the time back in the day when he did Gamers with Jobs. I used to listen to his podcast regularly. Just let go. He's like a staple in my opinion.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
did you know, if I may briefly interject, IGN owns How Long to Beat and Humble Bundle as well?
I knew they owned Humble Bundle, but I did not know
that.
about How Long to Beat.
Isn't that crazy?
They
They really just had their fingers in everything.
It's kind of scary. Like,
Yeah,
right.
it is.
you know,
And How Long to Beat it's got to be one of my most frequently visited websites on the internet.
I know.
Yeah.
Same here.
They're
And I
getting
did
a
not
click.
realize they owned them.
every time I go there, they're getting a click from me. And I go there
Yeah.
quite often. So anyway, this news begs the question, is gaming journalism dead? I wanted to discuss this not only because it's relative to us as a media outlet, albeit a smaller one, but also because, we have our own feelings about where the industry is heading. So how do you, I want to know how you guys define gaming journalism. Like, what exactly is it in today's day and age? What do you think?
What a insanely multifaceted topic you've chosen for, Scott.
You're welcome.
My first instinct when you say what is gaming journalism in today's day and age, my first instinct is to just say Jason Schreier.
Yeah.
Okay.
He might be the only. Maybe Gene Park at the Washington Post as well, because he gets a lot of access because at the Washington Post. But so there's like 2 game journalists left. In my, there's a lot of games reporting. But you look at something like IGN, right? And the majority of it is just here's a press release.
Right. It's just regurgitating whatever they got in an email and adding some of their own flavor to it.
Yeah, or like here's a top 10 show or slideshow of here's our 10 favorite Elden Ring bosses.
Listicles.
Yeah, a lot of listicles. What has really been the defined game journalism in the last few years is just we just report on every rumor now.
Yes.
Yep.
And these companies like IGN try to get around it and be like, as reported by so and so, but they're still running it as though it's a news story, and they want you to click on it, and then you see how quickly this stuff spreads. It's just fact, even if it's entirely made up.
Mm-hmm.
You see things like these. Let's say Gears of War 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was reported with confidence over and over again that Gears of War 6 is getting announced, but it wasn't Gears of War 6. But these people are going to take it as credit now of like, well, it was a Gears of War game. Well, the rumor mongers say it with such authority that it's Gears of War 6, but you're still wrong.
And then the people that are reading this, want it to be true, so they just naturally believe it.
Yes, and that happens for anything.
Right.
And something like a new Gears of War being announced, like, well, no duh.
Yeah.
But it still gets circulated as though it's news. I don't know. It's just so to me, game journalism these days, a lot of bad stuff. And you do like Push Square or Video Games Chronicles. I think those are some decent websites if you want to get your news in a less obnoxious way. Like, I can't imagine how anybody would just you can't just surf IGN anymore. Right.
No.
It is insufferable to try to read through or see headlines or Kotaku or something.
Or look
like
for
that.
news stories to talk about on this show.
Yeah, it's just difficult. Game Informer, I think, does a decent, because they got the news tab where it just kind of orders it.
Yeah.
So like, and a lot of these do, but IGN's always got like ads in there, bitten in there, or like you click aways, or here, what do you think of, oh, you want to read about The Witcher? Well, what about, shouldn't you check out this Witcher TV show article first? You're like, no. Just want to read about the Witcher game. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the bigger site, GameSpot's the same way like that. It's just obnoxious. But my point is, when was the last time you cared about a byline?
A byline? You mean like
who was this article written by?
Oh, like yeah. Oh, this is written by so and so. So I'm really interested in doing it. No,
yes, because they used to be the day, right? Like IGN, like it was like, oh, it's written by Damon Hatfield or Greg Miller or Colin Moriarty or Ryan Clements. Like these are names that I cared about. Jeff Gerstmann, right back in his day. And I realized that this isn't what everybody cares about. But like when I saw a review written by Greg Kasavin, I was like, oh, okay, so this will be written well and thoroughly and stuff. And it's just interesting. But a lot of people have left for game development or PR or whatever. Just the game's journalists have left because why would you get paid pennies? You can only have your enthusiasm taken advantage of for so long.
Exactly. I mean, look at how much I pay you guys.
Oh yeah.
Nothing but guilt, guilt, hard time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I look at this. I pay you guys twice as much as I pay myself.
Wow. And I haven't been in school for a long time, but 0 multiplied by 2 is still 0, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so really
So,
3 times as much.
Yeah. So sometimes he'll give us a bonus sometimes, guys, where he'll pay us 5 times our normal rate.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Now you're making me feel guilty. Just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, it drives me crazy that I feel like there are not even just game sites anymore.
Yeah.
Games dedicated just to, I'm sorry,
Oh,
sites
yes.
dedicated just to games. Because, I feel like I have to go to the website and then click on a tab that says games. Because
Right.
it's all, just nerd stuff, which I get it. I like
Mhm.
anime. I like Marvel movies. I like tabletop stuff, but is there not enough going on in the games industry that there's just not enough to read about games? I like, it just drives me nuts.
Right. It's the biggest entertainment industry. Yeah. Why do we need all this extra stuff?
I really don't know why, because there's so many games that you could just have. I could, if I didn't have a full-time job and I could just do stuff for the Gaming Outsider and somehow figure out a way to get paid for it, I would have articles all day long of like, check out this new game. Here's a description of the trailer. Just so we had like a one-stop spot, like a blog site.
Imagine if there was a spot for games coverage, like a game spot, if you will.
Right.
Wouldn't that be nice?
And honestly,
Sure,
that's
yeah.
become my go-to, like my starting point when I'm looking for stories to talk about. I usually start with GameSpot
Really?
because
Mhm.
over some of the
I've-
others, they tend to focus more on the games, but they still, just like you said, the listicles and here's our, I just the facts, man. That's all I
Right.
want is I want what's going on. And to your point about like, to me, journalism. When I first started wanting to get into journalism, it wasn't just to review games. It was to like investigate and learn what's going on in the industry.
Oh, do you mean journalism?
Right. Like that's
Okay.
like I mean, I think of back in the day when people try to get a scoop and they're trying to make contacts and they're trying to learn this and they're trying to learn about how these developers work and what's going on behind closed doors and the things that people give Jason Schreier crap for. Because he's one of the only ones doing that. He's actually, it's because there's so much more to games journalism than reviewing games, which is, sadly all we're doing.
Or saying, well, what I'm hearing is, and you
Yeah.
just make something up.
And it drives me crazy. I understand that we have moved forward as a society technologically, but it drives me crazy even watching regular news where the news is something that somebody said in a tweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't like that either.
Because people are so inaccessible, we can't get a direct quote from them. Like, I spoke with so-and-so. No, I read this thing that thousands of other people also had access to. It just feels so not exclusive anymore. Like, that was the whole thing.
Mhm.
Whenever you watch a movie about a journalist, they're like, can I get an exclusive?
Well, and it feels like it's crazy how often they take a tweet or a quote or something and they just give it to you, but wildly out of context.
Well, look,
yeah,
did
for
that
sure, yeah.
happen last week with Neil Druckmann? No, Neil Druckmann?
Yeah. Where PlayStation, his own company, misquoted him.
Right.
Yeah.
They basically made it sound like he was supportive of AI and stuff like this.
Right. And how he was going to change the way people viewed video games. And so then he had actually put the whole quote or the whole interview up on his own. Yeah.
And then they pulled it and like,
Yeah.
it's not even like, those dirty, journalists are trying to get dirt on us. No, you guys are together. Like,
Right.
Mhm.
and you did. That's just so crazy to me that in today's day and age that happened. But what do you
mean,
think,
that-
Alyssa?
I mean, pretty much what you guys said is why I think a lot of the journalism now is just, reporting on something someone tweeted, making lists, speculation about a game potentially being leaked at a show or something, and they make a whole article about it. It's not really, investigative. It's not really interviewing people from the industry anymore or speaking at length about games. It's really just speculation and trying to get more clicks, and then things get taken out of context, like we saw happen with that one Ubisoft interview, where all the articles made it out to be like this guy said, I can't remember exactly the...
Oh, it was talking about if people just...
yeah.
It was about owning your games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Ubisoft executive?
Yeah.
And they're like, they buried the actual interview, like, in a hyperlink, one-word hyperlink in every article, and then they took it completely out of context, and just in kind of. And then everyone, believed what the article said instead of going to the actual interview.
Right.
So it's
because
more...
who's going to click through to a hyperlink
Yeah.
to read an interview to actually show?
And who's going to read the interview in general?
Right.
Like, people just don't read a lot nowadays.
Turns out
either,
it might have just been me. I might have been the only one who actually read that interview.
No, I read it as well. I clicked the
Okay.
hyperlink.
Oh, I wasn't trying to pat myself on the back. I
No,
was just
no,
saying,
I was just...
if people had read the interview, that was not the context of quote.
Yeah,
Right.
it was taken out of context. It just feels sensationalistic now, and just click driven, trying to, make as much money as possible, get as many views as possible, instead of actually telling the truth or being informative.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's kind of like almost trying to be entertainment in a way, or gossip.
Yeah.
It doesn't really feel like journalism anymore.
I can agree with that. I'm going to jump around a little bit here, format-wise. So I want to ask you guys, what do you think it is that caused such a shift in traditional journalism in the past 20 or 30 years? And maybe not even just in games, but in journalism in general. Alyssa, what do you think?
Oh, I think people have shorter attention spans now, for sure. Again, like I said, people just don't read as much now.
Thank you. That was going to be my answer.
A lot of people will just read a headline of something and then take that at face value. They don't read the article or anything. Especially on social media, if there's an article posted, they won't even click on the article. They'll just go by the headline and be like, that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, you gotta delve further at least. Like, it's just... And I think people don't want to know more, necessarily. They just want to, they want to be part of the crowd more. So, whatever the majority view is, I think they want to be part of that, most people.
Huh. What do you think, Zach?
This is a huge question. And let me try to work through some answers if I can.
All right.
My first instinct is that people aren't interested in the truth anymore. They are only interested in their truth. They want to see the world as they see it, and the internet has made endless tools to do that. You can see it can be one story, right, and has only one point of fact, but everybody talking about it shifts it to the way they want, and the algorithm that is deciding everything you see is shifting it towards that for you. So when you're confronted with like, well, that's actually not what the Ubisoft guy said, you can just see people being like, well, that's probably, but that's what he meant or whatever. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, that's literally not the case. Mm-hmm. But people just want to see it the way they want to see it. Right. So they're not actually, there's no curiosity about fact anymore.
It's just people want their own thoughts repeated by somebody else.
Yes. They want confirmation bias and everything.
Exactly.
And that's why when a game isn't out for another 2 weeks and every reviewer is saying it's crap, but everybody was excited for it, they're just like, man, I can't believe these critics were bought off. It's just total nonsense.
And they get very mad if you try to correct them. They're like, no, I'm right. I'm right. That's what this person said, so I'm right.
Even though I can only think of 2 cases where money got involved in the reviews process, and both of them were huge scandals, so I feel like we would probably know if this was happening regularly. I've never been offered money to give praise or to take.
I haven't either.
Another one that comes to mind is I think video game PR companies, they wanted you to not trust game journalists as time went on. Because they kept cutting out those middlemen. They kept talking to you more directly. They kept doing their showcases, and we all responded with like, "Oh, that's great. Let's get the information directly." But because that's happening, no one's there to. There's no one to give you kind of the bull crap filter. So like it's and that's the company's benefit, because now you'll buy Cyberpunk at launch, right at launch, because not enough journalists got to actually get hands on with it. Right. And and you're trained to not trust journalists anyway, right? Because they're bought off. So it's almost just like it worked in the marketing machine to cut out journalists as much as they could, and they successfully did so. And that's not good. And then everybody buys Cyberpunk at launch, and it doesn't work to such a degree that both console storefronts are like, get this out of here.
Oh, but they fixed it.
Yeah, but and now they get to have a comeback story. Great. They get 2 marketing pushes for free.
And they're still and did they still get like a Game Award nomination?
Yeah, the best ongoing Game Award was pathetic, dude. That was embarrassing.
I also remember with the Cyberpunk reviews, they only allowed people to review it on PC as well.
Right, yeah.
So when the reviews came out, they didn't actually have the experience of the PlayStation and Xbox versions.
Right. And this one is definitely very games industry specific, but a lot of the journalists that were left started becoming openly antagonistic towards their audience in a lot of way, like trying to make you feel bad for liking a game because it wasn't properly representative or something like that, or and it doesn't matter how little sense it makes, right? Like Kingdom Come Deliverance was a game like in 13th century Poland, and game journalists were talking about the lack of diversity. It's like, yeah, man, there's going to be nothing but white Polish people in 13th century Poland.
Right.
If you were a different color, it probably wasn't going to go well, and even if it did, like, oh, there's like one black trader went through here, like one, to sell his wares. Great, man. One guy. And you're like, and he probably just walked through Poland to sell some stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so outlandish, but they kept trying to make people feel bad for not getting, to not care about it. And it's just like, man, I just want to play the medieval game though.
Right.
And that would just happen over and over again. And like, don't get me twisted. There were certainly some good causes along the way, no doubt. But if you're constantly telling your audience that they're bad people over and over and over again, eventually they're going to stop listening to you. They're going to stop visiting your site. They're going to stop wanting to engage with your stuff. Like, it's only...
I feel like you have a specific one in mind, and we're not...
Oh, yeah. Well, what are you talking about? Kotaku? Because, yeah. This is Zack saying it, not the Gaming Outsider. But yeah, Kotaku, I think, was a huge example of this. Where they wanted you to feel bad about playing video games for some reason. And I don't know, maybe it's just because they were all unhappy with their lives. I don't know. But why would you keep coming back to a website that tells you you're awful?
Right.
And why would you trust those people?
I think what's interesting is I think it's working for them. Because they're still going strong. If you read...
well, Kotaku's not going strong. They're barely surviving.
Well, true. But
no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off right away. But,
no, it's okay.
Yeah. It did make them stronger for a while, but I think people can only celebrate others' miseries for so long, I guess.
Let's go back to positivity. I mean, I understand that some of the things that they talk about are, legitimate. There are social issues, but some of us play games as an escape from the stuff that we get tired of reading about online. Politics. And things that just cause discourse between people. Gaming is my fun time. It is where I am forgetting the world for a little while and enjoying this. And when I am still working or doing things besides playing games, and I try to integrate myself into the industry and entertain myself by reading things or keeping myself educated about the industry, I just don't have any interest in getting involved in anything that's going to make people angry. I don't want to rile people up.
And you could educate people on social issues in a more inclusive or intelligent way. But instead they were always just like, you're awful.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than like, oh, don't you think this might be better if it was more considerate of the culture it was adapting or something like that? It's always just like Horizon stealing Native American culture, and you should feel terrible about looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not, you're not going to win over hearts and minds that way.
And it clearly works. What was the best-selling game of last year?
Yeah, Hogwarts, like a game they refused to cover.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sure is interesting, isn't it? Yeah, do these people not understand that they're actually selling more copies?
I don't know how they don't understand that.
Yeah, like, are you so blind to the world you haven't figured that out?
I mean, we are a country of vindictive people,
right?
That will do things out of spite.
Mm-hmm. Right, we were founded on spiteful rebellion. Gosh darn it!
Right. That's a whole other topic, man. I've
Yeah.
whole man, it's crazy. But to Alyssa's point, I want to add, I think the lack of education is a lot to do with it as well. People don't want to read. With the advent of things like Twitch and YouTube, and people can just watch a video of something as opposed to actually reading a document
and have someone tell it to them.
Right. I remember, I've always been a good reader, even as a kid. It just kind of came natural to me, so I didn't have a problem with it. So I don't mean to sound like I'm talking down to anybody, but there was a time in my life where I was like, I just want to watch the video. It's just easier. But as I get older, like even if I'm looking up something online, like how to get through a certain portion of a game, and there's a video, I'm done with the video. I don't want to see a video of how to tell me to get to this part. I want to read some text. I'm going to process that better. I don't have to hear somebody talk about mashing a like button. I don't have to go through their little, you know what I mean? Just the facts. And I think that is one of the biggest things that's changed in journalism, is that we are no longer interested in learning about how things are made or how behind the scenes stuff is going. We just want to, like Zack mentioned, hear our own thoughts echoed by somebody else, or we want to get into an argument, or we want to rile people up. It sucks for someone like me that wants to celebrate this industry as much as I do.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
30 years ago when I was a kid and it wasn't cool to play video games, it would have made me so happy to know that in a few decades, gaming was going to be as huge and successful as it is. And now that we're here, I kind of want to go back to the way it was, where, you know what I mean? Where it doesn't matter, and people are just, our communities were smaller enough, and everyone was nice to each other, and we had this common love. And now I feel like it's a constant battle, within our own, hobby group. You think we all went through it. We all had moments in our lives where gaming wasn't popular, and you were looked down on for playing games. And instead, we're fighting against ourselves now, and it drives me
That's a good point.
crazy.
Yeah. Why can't we all just celebrate that we're here?
Yeah, we finally got here, guys.
Or get angry at the things that make sense, like this, like the pay extra to play 2 days early stuff, or but all that stuff seems like it's not the big deal. Why are we still letting every game come out unfinished? Oh, well, we'll add that feature later. And we're all just like,
it's
okay.
like the bad boyfriend syndrome, right? Like, he'll get better. We're just gonna keep.
Yeah.
My CDs are still in this truck. It's not that simple.
Of course. Classic.
We're just gonna keep coming back because this time it'll be fine. This game will be finished. You know what I mean?
Right.
The last one was a problem, but this one's gonna be good. And then just repeats and repeats and repeats. But I'm
happy to pay $30 to play a game 2 days early.
I feel like you're being facetious.
No, yeah, I'm saying I was quoting. That's the message you're sending every time you buy into one of those things. Is like, yes, I love this.
Yeah, we're going to complain about the price jumping from $60 to $70, but I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I constantly think about it because people are always complaining about game length and how you're not getting enough money for your dollar or whatever. And then you see every game with these early access periods and they're doing well.
Mm-hmm. And
you're like, well, so I guess if you think playing 2 days early is worth $30, but a 7-hour game that's incredible isn't worth $60.
Yeah, you're like, well, So take your family to the movies for a 2-hour movie with popcorn and snacks and everything. You're looking, $40, $50, $60.
No one's holding a gun to your head to buy concessions, but I understand.
That brings me back to my next point. When I was talking about the lack of education, there's also a lack of self-control in this country where people cannot live without. They can't wait 2 more days for a game. They can't go to the theater without spending just all this money on. There's no suffering isn't the right word, but there's no. I can't have something.
There's like anticipation, and patient. Like you don't get that rewarding feeling you get when you wait for something.
Mm-hmm.
There's just not a sense of anticipation as much anymore. It's like I have to have it now.
There's no earning it. I'm going to have it now.
Yeah.
Maybe pay for it later, or someone else is going to pay for it, or I'm going to steal it.
Yeah.
We are getting way off the journalism track here.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
I think that I mean, obviously I'm a school teacher, so like I feel like the education thing is important to me, but kids don't want to read anymore, man. I
is really
literally in my class have recorded audiobooks of me reading the story to them and then giving them comprehension questions. And they won't even listen to me read it. They will just go and try to guess the answers and see if they get it right and then just be done with it.
Well, there's no punishment for failing a class anymore.
Right. There's
Which
no
is also
pride.
very sad.
But again, when it comes to journalism, I think that people aren't even. I feel like people like us are a dying breed in terms of we want to know the ins and outs of some of these developers. We want to know what makes them tick. We want to educate ourselves and learn about the industry and become knowledgeable about the industry, and become better people ourselves. You know, with something that we love, and I feel like that is becoming a lost art.
I will say a little more positive spin. There are a lot of interesting YouTube channels out there that'll get into the weeds of how a game was made or something like that. Although a lot of those they still don't get like the access to interview the developers or anything though.
Right.
Which is unfortunate because you would want that. But I'm saying, there are niche channels doing that kind of work. But that's more of like documentarianism than it is traditional journalism.
And I mean, like, how do you even do that nowadays? I mean, I was obviously not a journalist back in the 60s and 70s, but you would hit the street and go like track down these people. And in the age of the internet where people can just ignore an email or ignore a comment section or whatever, how do you actually get in touch with these people? I always want to know how it works on the actual journalism side in gaming. Like, our sources tell us, where are you getting your sources? I mean, there's a reason we are called the Gaming Outsider. That was why we called us that, because we don't have any ins with anybody. I would love to have those ins and be able to talk to some people. This is a little inside baseball, but we had a situation where we talked to a developer and they kind of gave us some inside information, not hardcore inside information, but like just about how things worked and how they were thinking in terms of relating to people of the press like us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And remember how refreshing and awesome that was to have that be told to us and someone took the time to do that.
Right, to just get an honest answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are the conversations I want to have, and I'm kind of jumping the gun here because I want to see how you guys feel about the future of games journalism or what you would want from it. That's what I want, is I want to have real conversations like we see on Dateline when someone sits down in a room face to face and has a conversation with somebody about what they do, or about, they do it with Hollywood actors. They do these press junkets and everything like they do this. Why can't we have interviews like that with developers? And that be a thing. And then you have journalists that go and interview them and come up with great questions. And, we try to do that with developers here, but, and I think those are super fun for me. I don't know how the audience reacts to, hearing us talk to developers about and asking them about what their inspirations were. And, those are things I would want if I were consuming media. I am consuming media, but nobody's doing it. I guess podcasts are the closest thing, but there's so many podcasts.
Right.
Yeah. What do you guys want?
In the future?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you the number one thing I would like to see is the rumor mongering going away. In this, if I may be optimistic, I would love for people to wise up and stop trusting these people who get things wrong 80% of the time, or make such vague guesses that, well, yeah, of course that was true, or is just the first person to say something super obvious. But it's hard to believe that people will get less interested in rumors. It's just because they're so hopeful to see whatever it is, or
well, I mean, it's fun to talk about, right? I mean, rumors are fun.
Yes, but
it's not journalism.
They can be, but they also need to. You also need to hold the people who are spreading the rumors accountable, right? Like, you can't be wrong 20 times in a row and still be considered a reliable insider, when yet they are. And I think that's frustrating.
When they're wrong 65% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like games journalism is less and less about the facts and more about hoping I get lucky.
Right.
There's no accountability. There's no, why can I not think of the word? Integrity.
Yes. Yeah. Total lack of integrity. Yeah. Because if you were, at work and someone told you how to do something and they were wrong 80% of the time, you would stop asking them questions on how to do stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But we just keep citing everything these people say like it's gospel. It's very frustrating for me. So I would love to see that go away. And I mean, I guess really, I would want people to actually read these articles Jason Schreier's writing. I just always wonder, I'm like, how many people are actually reading this?
Well, it's difficult. His stuff is behind a paywall.
That's
Is it?
true. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like when I click on the articles, do you get like a certain free reads a month or something like that?
Yeah, you get a few certain per month, and then after that, you have to pay a fee.
Okay. So I must just get lucky.
Yeah. You're doing from a different ISP or something each time.
I guess so. But I'm saying, that's a great example of why people aren't reading that. What I'm saying is when people actually do true journalism, I would love to see people actually show up for those things.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
I don't know. Is that possible? I don't know.
Alyssa, what about you? What would you like to see from games journalism?
Zack listed a lot of them, but I would like to see people actually, write pieces and, actually appear like they're passionate about what they're writing about, really care about it. Like, even if it's, not, it's not like the happiest news or whatever. I just want people to be more passionate, like, about what they're writing about, and you can tell they're passionate about it, and they really put effort into it, and I guess I want people to care more, like, write because they love it, not because they're getting a paycheck, or they're trying to fill a quota for the month. Like, actually I want articles that are written with care and love and passion. That's pretty much what I would like to see more of.
Less game guides, more think pieces.
Yeah, less SEO farming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a complete hypocrite by agreeing with you because I don't write any editorials. I haven't, I've got a whole bunch in my head that I keep. I have aspirations of writing at some point, but things just keep getting in the way. So I got to maybe relook at priorities and maybe start doing that instead of
try to be the change you want to see.
Right. Yeah. So maybe this whole thing is a challenge on myself, and I just don't know how to get into, crack into the journalist part of that and get those kinds of contacts. My contacts are very.
What if I just started wholesale making things up? What do you think about that?
I don't like that.
I bet we get reported on. I bet people would notice us way more.
I don't want to gain traction that way.
Yeah, it wouldn't be positive.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the community and see what they said, because this was a pretty interesting topic. I'll kick things off with our lone comment over on Facebook from Sean Coates. He says, I can't decipher what the heck's going on within games journalism, but I'll say this. Everything that's happening within the video game discourse reflects poorly on the industry as a whole, making it difficult convincing outsiders to take the medium seriously as an art form worthy of artistic critique and aren't just toys. Imagine it. Snobby elite game journalists at a cocktail party, dressed to the nines in tuxedos, complete with top hats and monocles, sipping martini glasses, having intellectual conversations about the complexities of Red Dead Redemption 2, as though they're talking about Stanley Kubrick, David O. Selznick, or Tolstoy. I don't want that.
Well, I think it holds some appeal.
I mean, I don't like the snobby air to it, but yes, I would love to have those kinds of conversations about authors or film. Like did filmmakers have this issue when film was a new medium and people didn't take it seriously? Allowed to just read the book. You know what I mean? I'm
sure they did, yeah.
Probably.
And it took a long time where those people were hardcore respected, not just by hardcore film enthusiasts, but by everybody. You know what I mean? Like they're some of these directors are household names at this point.
For sure, yeah.
And I mean, sure, some of the developers are household names in our world, but in mainstream media, they're they're making this kids game.
Yeah, but I would love these kind of I hate to shout out a different podcast, but Quest Markers is great for this kind of conversation in a non-pretentious way where they really get into they really talk about games as an art form.
Mm-hmm. I actually just listened to their Resident Evil episode where they did was it 5 through 8?
Yeah, the part 2.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with mentioning another podcast. Quest Markers is great. Marina is a delightful person, and she does a really good job over there. Alyssa, you want to take the next comment?
Of course. Over on Discord, Jacob Gunderson writes in, every time this gets brought up, I'm reminded that the people who review games for big-name sources suck at games. I don't remember who it was exactly, but they reviewed one of the newer Devil May Cry games. In-game, the quality of the music was based on how well you played the game. They gave the game a less than stellar review because they were unable to play the game the way it was meant to be played. Even Steam reviews at this point are getting out of hand. You have wannabe reviewers playing games they don't like or want to play and then giving negative feedback. I don't need to see just positive reviews. I do actually like tearing into games because it's my passion. I just want the people who review games to have an understanding of actual gaming. Point, if you don't know how to use a product correctly, do not review it.
Do you remember that, not to dwell on the negativity on our supposedly positive podcast, you remember that video? I think it might have been Polygon, or it was one of the big ones, where they were previewing Cuphead and they couldn't get past the jump tutorial?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was pretty rough.
I mean, there's a reason. We all have different tastes in games, and certain games that don't
Yeah.
click with us. Alyssa doesn't like platformers. I'm not a big, interactive book. What do you call those?
Visual
Visual
novel?
novels?
Visual novels. I'm not big into visual novels. Outside of Doki Doki Literature Club, but that's for different
Of
reasons.
course, yeah.
That's just not my particular
Mhm.
style of game. So we all have different tastes. If there's a Western game, Zach's going to review it. If there's a narrative adventure game, Alyssa's going to review it. If there's a gear-gated 2D game, Scott's probably going to review it, unless it's
Right.
Prince of Persia.
Because you want sorry, I superseded you on that one. Because you want to know if the person likes a thing, they can then help you decipher whether it's a good or bad one of those things, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you're tapping people who are predisposed to liking something. Like if Scott says a 2D gear gated game is good, I can trust that it's good because I trust him to let me know what the bad ones are,
Right.
Yeah.
which obviously would never be Prince of Persia.
Obviously.
Obviously.
Still hasn't been topped, man.
Oh, for the year?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
See, your review probably would have read a lot like mine.
Probably.
Yeah.
It actually was me. We just put your name on it. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding.
Of course.
You want to do the next one?
Oh, yeah, sure. Drew Ross here.
Mhm.
I feel gaming media is all about clicks and have a lot of bias towards one company or another or publisher or developer. Some of the headlines and outrage they try to stir up are comical, not much real journalism or just giving you previews and info on games. As for reviewers, it seems like there's also a lot of bias out there at times. They're trying to fit in an agenda. I follow very little of it. I get my news, previews, and game impressions after release elsewhere. I do want to just Drew, every review is biased. It has to be. That is the nature of a review.
Mm-hmm.
Reviews are not reviews for video games or movies or comics, books. Like these are there can't be product reviews. They can only be artistic reviews, and in that way, you're going to go into it with bias.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that's just how that is.
And I think he makes an interesting point too about, at the end of the day, is it journalism or is it entertainment? Because if it's entertainment, which is what most of us, which I don't even know if I'm including myself into that, are reading or listening or absorbing any kind of this information about the industry, it's because we like it and we want to be entertained. So on one hand, I almost don't fault these sites for writing what the audience wants, which is a soundboard for what they already believe in or something for them to be mad about because they disagree. There's entertainment in discourse.
Yeah. No, when I think there is a lot of poor journalism or stuff that, like, especially the listicles or, leaning towards just farming clicks or what the audience wants. I just think reviews, they're inherently somebody's reaction or emotional response to something.
Mm-hmm.
And if the person who gave Hogwarts Legacy a 2 out of 10 or whatever, 1 out of 10, you can't take that person seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So yeah, not to trust them, but I don't know. I'm kind of rambling now.
That's all right. Next comment comes from Matt Sattler. He says, quite honestly, I don't like or trust games media much anymore. I think they've been kind of overrun by sensationalists like Jason Schreier. I know I'm a noted Schreier hater. And people that, just like about every other medium of the media, shove their political beliefs into everything they do and see. It's really starting to take root in games as well now. It's exhausting, and I just plainly don't trust or like agenda-driven material. When I want to find out about a game, I go to YouTube and streams and judge for myself. I personally don't care what they do because I don't really utilize them at all anymore. Carmel Bear responded to that and said exactly how I feel and think with the current scheme of gaming journalism and our reviews. I watch YouTube gameplay videos and kick Twitch streams to make a decision. I'm fed up with everything in the news being tweets.
Yeah, that's frustrating. The agenda stuff is so tricky because I don't mind if someone's looking through something with their own personal lens, right? Or their own life experience or something like that. But it is difficult to find the people who are genuine or the ones who are just trying to cause a stir.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know
it feels. I was just gonna feel. It feels like there are more grifters than there are people who are being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to talk about Assassin's Creed 3 from the perspective of being Native American, I think that is interesting.
Yeah.
But it is probably more likely that it is a white reviewer estimating how a Native American feels about it.
Well, I mean,
and
some of that is
honest.
that if you were a white reviewer reviewing Assassin's Creed 3, unfortunately, you have to tread carefully. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because if you don't mention something like that, then there's the potential of angering a certain subgroup of people, which, by the way, aren't going to be the Native Americans. It's going to be the white people that are...
Sure.
You know what I mean?
And is also most likely people who weren't going to play it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very... It is hard to sift through the grift, as it were. The people who are just trying to make money off of the agendas on either side, right? There's plenty on either end of every argument. There are two sides, and there are grifters on both.
Right. Anyway, that was an awesome topic. I'm not patting myself on the back.
Was there something you were going to say that I cut you off?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, with inserting like beliefs or whatever. I know I sometimes do that with my reviews for games, but I only do it if it applies, like, if I relate to a character because, you know, they have a same, you know, maybe the character has the same mental illness I have, or recently a game I played, Sucker for Love Date to Die For, the main character is asexual, so I mentioned that in the game because I'm on the age spectrum as well, but I'm not gonna, you know, I don't talk about things that don't actually relate to me or I don't have knowledge of.
Right.
I know that might be frustrating for some people to see in reviews, but sometimes I get a little too excited and I'm like, oh, I got represented.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
I'm not
gonna talk about things that don't represent me. Like, I'm not gonna act like something represents me when it doesn't, or like I have knowledge about something that I don't have knowledge of.
Right.
I just wanted to put that out there.
That's all good. I mean, like Zach said, there's always going to be personal bias, especially if it's something that you relate to.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have your personal flavor in your writing. That's what makes you an interesting writer. You know, if we all wrote stereo instructions, it wouldn't be entertaining to read. And that's
exactly.
That's the purpose behind it. And that's one thing that I've kind of challenged myself after reading both of your reviews over the years is like, you've got your own, you know, you read something in it sounds like you're reading a Zack review. Or sounds like you're reading an Alyssa review. And, you know, I just write the way I write. And you guys have told me you have a similar feelings about reading mine, but I don't know what my brand is. You know what I mean? So I've been trying to think of more creative ways to do it without coming across as goofy or trying too hard. And I want it to sound natural, but I want it to sound interesting. But anyway, I'm going off on a whole other tangent. So that is our topic. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining me in on that one, guys. That was good. And thanks to everybody for the comments. I do not have a topic for next week yet. So stay tuned to the socials, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, TikTok, all that good stuff.
Let's try to make it something a little more positive, huh?
You're right. This was a pretty negative. Look at that. I brought up a negative topic, man.
What was I saying? Yeah.
Well,
I know. I just know a lot of our listeners like us because we're not negative like every other.
But I look at this as more constructive than. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I apologize. It shouldn't. You're right. Which, oh boy, now I'm a little tongue twisted. I'm not saying that the topic should have been off limits. I just it felt like
I didn't.
pretty negative one. Although I guess we were pretty positive in the front half, right? A lot of good gaming news.
Oh yeah, so much. I want to just like go
Yeah.
back and listen, like rewatch the Xbox showcase again. Because so many games I want to play. So stay tuned. We will have a topic there. But that is going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. This episode was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website, again, is stemagemusic.com. And yes, Grant will be at R2V2 doing a performance for us. I cannot wait to see him in person again and actually see him perform live. I have not been able to have a chance to do that, so it's going to be awesome. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. The address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com, unless you are looking to post a thing on my site. Stop it. We don't want your sponsored posts on my site. Just forget it. Your emails
about it.
Your emails read like scams, and it makes me want to block you. So, Zach, do you have any parting words or recommendations before we get out of here?
Yeah, just real quick. I went kayaking for the first time.
Nice.
Ever.
Wow.
And that was a lot of fun. It was really fun getting out of the river, and those little, kayaks are pretty small, right? So it's pretty easy to like get up and down channels in the water and kind of explore. It was a cool way to explore in a new way.
Very cool.
That's all I got.
I like it. Alyssa, how about you?
Well, I have a music recommendation. It's not K-pop, but it's K-pop adjacent.
Okay.
There's an EP.
Sorry to get worried.
There's an EP from an artist named Hannah Bong. Not like it's spelled BAHNG. There's about 5 songs on it, I believe, and every single one's excellent. Love her voice. But she is the sister of Bongchan from Stray Kids.
Oh,
okay.
So
there it is.
But you wouldn't be able to know unless you actually knew that connection, because she goes by her actual name. There's no known affiliation from this album. And this album, she does have some explicit songs, which, do not go with K-pop. So, unless you knew that history, you can't tell. Like, her songs are just they're pop songs, but they're relaxing, but at the same time, they do have, like, messages. I think my favorite song off the album is Tonight is the Night I Died to a Frank Ocean song. It's a long title, but I really like that song. But all 5 songs are great. If you want more of a chill out, but still have a message album to listen to, it's a good one. It's called Abysmal by Hannah Bong.
Very cool. I also have a music recommendation, and it's going to sound like it's coming from left field for me because I am not a rap person at all. But Eminem just dropped his newest single this past week. It's called Houdini. If you like Eminem at all, Eminem it's like back to old school Eminem. And this song, it sounds very familiar to I'm Slim Shady, Yes, I'm the Real Shady. But he's also mixed in Steve Miller Band's Abracadabra. And the lyrics are super offensive and making a whole lot of people angry. All the younger generations are on TikTok talking about how he should be canceled and all this kind of stuff. He's getting the attention that he was hoping for by putting this song out, and the video is just as ridiculous as his old school videos, and it is great. I've listened to it on repeat, and I genuinely can't wait for the new album to drop to see what he's gonna do, and I just love that it's able to be here. So, Eminem. Houdini is the name of the track, and it's great. All right, Alyssa, Zach, it's been awesome. I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I know we started a little bit early today, so thanks for being flexible. But until next week, I'm Scott with Zach Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.